Woo, happy Saturday. Today is Saturday, October 8th, 2022. We are well into the fall season. We are well into lower temperatures. And I am William. I am here to shepherd you from October 8th into October 9th. Another NFL Sunday. And who knows what else. Uh, this is our weekly conversation to basically wrap up everything that we've talked about during the week or everything that's been talked about during the week. We're going to try to do it in a tone here that is a little bit more indicative of a relaxation weekend, which is where we're at. Some of the stuff that we talk about has been talked about before, but it's been talked about in ways and in levels that really didn't really get any info out there. So I like to do it this way. I like to do it at the end of the week. Obviously, one of the major topics we hit on last night's stream for Sci-Fi Center Live Friday was the Henry Cavill news and what that means for potentially going forward for DC's films in general. Because, like I said last night, the decision to continue with Cavill isn't just about Black Adam. It's a sign saying that we still want this man as our Superman. It is a sign saying that we are not going to just pull the rug out from everything that you guys have sat through for all these years and start new. At least not now or anytime soon. I don't think they would go through all this just for a end credit scene. I think we're looking at I wouldn't be surprised if after Black Adam has 1 week in the theaters, if you didn't get a Cavill announcement on something else. Don't have any inside sources about that, but it just makes good business sense to strike while the iron is hot. Good companies do that. When they have that momentum, they hit it with more momentum, and that's something DC Films has not been able to do since 2013. They've always stunted their own momentum either by doing something stupid or by not doing anything at all. For prime example is we haven't had a Superman in the cinemas since 2017. That's not good. So hopefully, like I said, this is a crack in the Iron Curtain, and it leads to a lot of decent things. Let me go ahead and before I bring in Fade, say hi to the chat room. Hey, how you doing, Vince? Hey, Chappie. I noticed the other night, last night, Film Junkie, you rolled your name off his tongue like it was nothing, and I have problems. So I'm going to try it here without see if I don't jam it up. Tony Movie Chappie D9 Neil Blomkamp fan. He just did it like really quick, and he said you've been there enough to where he has it down. I'm just lazy, but I'll try to. I'm calling you Chappie since I refer to you more times he does on the show. All right, first to say first, how you doing? Rerun Trading, nice. Thanks for you joining. And second, like, cool. All right, I'm unemployed now, so I'm here and not on my phone. Oh wow, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear about you losing your job. I hope you're in between one situation and a better one. That's all you can really hope for. All right, let me go ahead and bring in Thade. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Like I said, I'm just basically going through the chapters and stuff that we've already talked about this weekend. The only thing that's pretty much new that we did not hit on yesterday is because we didn't have the trailer. New York Comic Con released the new Star Trek Picard trailer. I can't play it here because people are getting demonetized all over the place today for all kinds of reasons, and I don't want to get Enosh struck. But
right.
The trailer was stunning. That's all I got to say about it. I mean,
I'll have to go look at it.
Yeah, even for people who may be just a bit tired of this cast because they're going on 40 years. I mean, this cast premiered in 1987.
Yeah,
and now we're into this, so it's a while, and I can understand the exhaustion if you're ready to move on to different things. But that being said, this trailer had a lot in it. It had Lore was in there, which is how they're bringing back Brent Spiner. I don't know if you ever watched the episode where the holodeck they created the Sherlock Holmes adventure, and they actually created Moriarty. He's in it.
Yeah.
It looks like Amanda Plummer is playing the main villain. So I want to know what her backstory is, and it looks like a pretty intense and pretty quality final season that they have coming up. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, I was already looking forward to it because they're letting you know this is the last hurrah for this cast, which is, that's the way they're dealing with it. It's nostalgia, but it's wrapping up whatever loose ends that they don't think they ever got a chance to wrap up. And I'm fine. Go ahead and do it while they're all alive and well. And pretty much every single member of this cast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, actually all 7 members of the generation cast and plus 7 of 9 they're alive, they're well. Let's do it before too much time passes. You lose one of them. Patrick Stewart's in his 80s. And the rest of them are all in their 60s. So
right.
I mean, Jerry Ryan is 57, and she looks great, by the way, for that old. But they're all, and then Rafi's in there. So you have the old cast coming back, and then you have the new cast. I wouldn't go ahead.
I'm looking at it now. Hold on.
Yeah, make sure you turn that sound down.
Oh, you can't hear me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that trailer was amazing. I mean, like I said, I hadn't been.
Is that a new Enterprise?
No, it is it's the Titan.
Yeah,
it's a Constitution class. I forgot what class the ship it is, but it's very reminiscent of a Constitution class. I'm pretty sure that it is a Constitution class. Let me look this up. Picard season 3 ship. The main ship is, they call it a hero ship. It's not. Fans will be disappointed. It's not the return of the USS Enterprise. Okay, Star Trek has always been central to the franchise. The ships of Star Trek have always been central to the franchise. There are more than simple workplace. They are a living, breathing environment that fans come to love. And the crew, let's see, what is that ship? Yeah, the USS Titan A, designed by Bill Krause. So let me go ahead and see if I can bring that ship up. Actually, I have the picture of it. It's pretty nice. I'm trying to. This trailer's all over this thing, so let me go ahead and bring up a different picture.
It's a beautiful ship, man.
Yeah, it's really nice. It harkens back to every version of. If you look at it, and we'll bring it up here.
They want some major Starfleet building.
Yeah, let's see. And it looks like they're going to be destroying a lot of shit in this season too. If you look at it, I mean that trailer is brutal, man. Let's see. Where's the image?
There's a scene here of Beverly in a cryo tube.
Yeah, I saw that. So I'm guessing that's going to be the. Wow, this is a really nice ship. I want to play this. I wish I. All right, so it is. Wow, dude. Everything has a video hooked up to it. Let me see if I can bring this up.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice. It's a
Wait
USS
a minute, what's this?
It's
lore.
Oh yeah, you saw that, huh? Yeah.
Oh my god, that looked good. Damn it! Now I've got to watch Picard.
What class is this ship? It says it's a Constitution. U.S. Titan NCC 8012 class, Luna class, registered operator Starfleet, memory Alpha Fandom. Is this Titan and warship? No, it is a. All right, I'm just trying to find out the best one that won't. Let's see. That looks like an Akira class. That can't be it. All right, let's see. Start Picard season 3 ship.
No chat going on. My channel gets backed up. Good. Monetized, rolling again.
All right, sorry guys, we're stumbling under, but okay, so Picard. Here we go. We're gonna use Trek Central's.
So, like for example,
I can hear you in the background.
You won't see that
Okay, I turned it down. Sorry.
Okay. I didn't know if that was let me see if I can share the screen. So share screen and Chrome tab. All right, here we go. So I'm going to keep the sound down so we can play this. This is our current. This is Trek Central's. Let me see. Did I share it? All right, hold on. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there it goes.
All right, let's go. All right, and we're going to go. So that's the ship right there. That is the USS Titan. And if you look at it, it has a lot of you can pretty much distinguish different eras of Star Trek on it. And here's the trailer. That's the ship again leaving space dock. February 16th. Wow.
It's not too far off.
No, it's not too far off. And remember, we still have Discovery coming up.
Okay, so Discovery should be coming shortly after Lower Decks is over, right?
Yeah, Lower Decks is just about done, right?
Yeah, because we've got 3 episodes of Lower Decks left.
It's hilarious that if you ever look at Space Dock, since Star Trek 2 or Star Trek 3, they've used the same Space Dock for the most part. Those things can fit 100,000 people on them. Yeah. And that's Space Dock. And then there's the prototypical standard fare of them getting thrown around a ship when it gets blown up. For all the explosions that ever happen on Star Trek, it's a wonder how they recover and anything ever works again. All that that happens during a scene, and then you're back at it again. So there's another view of that ship. That's a really nice ship. I can't wait to get the model. And that's it coming out of the space dock doors. That's how massive the space dock is.
Yeah.
There you see it coming out. And these guys are. There's another site, and I want to try to get these guys on. It's called Trek Yards. And
yeah, I've seen it. I've watched those guys. Yeah.
Oh my God, they break down the ships to the molecule, man. I mean, it's
okay, they do show the Enterprise F in that trailer.
Where?
It's the Sovereign-looking ship.
You're gonna have to stop me when I get to it. If it's even in this. Is that the one back there to the left? Is that what's behind him?
Yeah. Yeah, back there. Yeah.
Okay. You sure that's F?
Yeah, it's what Memory Beta is saying.
You know what? If they're gonna, I'm gonna have to find out, because why would you have the Enterprise? I mean, this is a nice ship, but name it the Enterprise.
And it's not a Sovereign either. It's an Odyssey class.
Which would be the next. Okay, what rank is he now? Is he even Starfleet anymore?
Who, Worf or Geordi? He's a Commodore.
Is that what that is?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly what that is. That might be a 1-star admiral. They're so confusing with these ranks. I'll have to look up the ranks. He's up there now. At least they're all getting promoted.
Geordi LaForge. Let me look.
Man, Crusher still looks hot. She's like in her mid-60s. She's hitting 70. Worf's. These guys have aged pretty well. Look at Worf, looks kick-ass.
I just want to know what that's all about. Her in the damn cryo chamber thing.
Now,
I mean, are they gonna? Is somebody gonna die during this season?
Worf looks like the guy from Kill Bill, the one that the teacher.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are going to die, to be honest with you. I think they're going to – this is really just to give you a happy ending and to give you closure when it comes to Star Trek. So that ship looks great. All right, let me why is the internet freaking out about Velma not being straight? One of the most iconic lines she ever said was, "Mystery is my mistress." What else do people think in it? I don't know. I think people like to remember what they grew up as the only version of things that can be. And whenever there's any revelation or change, they think that you're messing with their childhood or something like that. But here's the thing: when it comes to Scooby Doo, I'm sorry. Let's break it down. They didn't have any jobs. They drove in a hippie van cross country. They mentioned things like Scooby snacks. Go ahead and Google that, see what that means. They talk to the dog, and the dog responds. Right there, we know something's up. Something is being taken in, if you know what I mean. So we didn't have a problem with them, in my opinion, basically being interstate drug traffickers. And Steve's wearing an ascot. Nobody had any problems with that. Nobody had any problems with all the stuff that happened in the 60s as far as drug and counterculture references. Sid and Marty Krofft, I mean, come on. HR, pupping stuff. Everything that went on in that era was a hallucination that they could get away with because of the times. Nobody was going to question it. And by the time it came down to our reruns, when we were watching it as kids, we were like, wow, this is fun. This is cool. I was born well after the hippie age, so I didn't get the counterculture references. But, I mean, come on. Now you have a problem with Velma? I mean, it's just something, like I said, it's just with anything that's iconic. Everybody remembers it in their own way, and they are not. There's no room in their mind for them to
Okay. So
any other interpretation. So that's why it's my opinion on Bat City.
that video, that trailer also shows Jordy's two daughters.
Yeah.
One of them actually played by his actual real life daughter, Micah. One of his daughters is the helmsman on the Titan. And the other one's apparently an engineer like her father.
Yeah, Captain Foley is a great dude from Checkyard. I've talked to him many times on his stream. So have I. I mean, I watch his streams. I don't get a chance to watch them as much as I should be watching them, but I'm going to watch them tomorrow because I know that whenever there's a trailer or anything, they break down the uniforms and they zoom in on them and they just I mean, they do the work and they put in the work, and it's a really great channel to go and support. That's checkyards.com. I'm trying to get him on here. He's in Canada, and a lot of times we have different, he's on the East Coast in Canada, I think. And then Commander Culkin, the guy who, Cody, his partner is in London. So they have to sync it up. And so I'm trying to get them on one of our streams. I really think those guys are great. So yeah, and I think they go all over the world too. I think he was in London doing something, and I think they were at the New York City Comic Con, but they're everywhere. But yeah, they break these things down. I'm gonna message him and see if I can get permission to use his breakdowns, because I will never be able to break down the ships and tech the way they do. Yeah, Junkman. We know who the Junkman is. Junkman from Enosh? That Junkman?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Small
they
world.
broke down. The Trek Yards guys broke down the trailer today.
Oh, see, I wish I should have contacted them and said, "Hey, can I use your breakdowns of your trailer?" Because they really do a good job, and I mean, they got the uniforms. They broke down when Pike, when the last episode of the last season where Pike, with the older Pike, was wearing the Admiral costume. I mean, they literally tore that down piece by piece, and they zoomed in on the Admiral rank. They showed you the difference between, the maroon red. The maroon red, but they had made they had made differences to it to make it more Pike's uniform, but it was basically the same one that you saw in Wrath of Khan and all the other iterations.
Yeah, it's the Mighty Maroon. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I have that costume. But yeah,
I want one. I actually want one of that era uniforms.
Yeah, I have the one with the gold piping. I have his Admiral, and that's another thing that they were as soon as I noticed it too. The Admiral Pike one does not have the gold piping because they're in combat.
Yeah.
Well, Nemesis wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I think when it comes to Trek, once you had First Contact, that was the standard for that next generation, because Generation sucked. I hated Generation. I didn't think that was a good movie at all. I think that was a nostalgia checking off the box. Let's bring Captain Kirk and Captain Picard together. The story, I did not like the story, the whole Nexus Ribbon thing. But, 2 years later, or actually 1 year later, 2 years later, actually, because that was in 94.
We got First Contact.
We got First Contact, which is one of my all-time favorite Star Trek movies, period.
It's my top 2.
That is some of the best writing. That is some of the best character development. Picard's evolution, and that the whole Moby Dick thing, him and Alfred Woodard going at it. Blow up the damn ship. He's like, and he gives that whole speech. Remember that speech he gives where no, they take our space, we pull back. They invade whole planets, we pull back.
We pull back.
No further.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
Yeah, I'm gonna make them pay for what they've done.
I'm gonna make them pay for what they've done.
And then she's like, "You broke your little ship," because he had hurled one of his ships, or he had hurled the blaster he was fixing into the nice big wall, all the Enterprises. And then he walks over there and looks at what he's become, and that's when he goes to Worf. He said, "I may have said some things to you that because he basically he's gonna call Worf a coward."
Yeah,
Worf, like, if you weren't the man you were, I'd kill you where you stand. He's like, "Get off my bridge." And I mean, that's how much respect that they had for him, even though he was being that way. He was still Captain Picard, and all was forgiven. I love First Contact. I really did. That's what Wrath of Khan, First Contact. It's those two, and then I start counting after that when it comes to Star Trek movies. So
for me, my top 3 are Wrath of Khan, Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, and First Contact.
I got 4 before Undiscovered Country, and I love Undiscovered Country. I just like the Voyage Home to me for some reason. I don't know. It was because when I saw it and it just hit me. I love the Voyage Home. Ship in a Bottle. Ship in a Bottle was the Moriarty one. I love the Moriarty one because it was one of the first episodes where the hologram you was starting to be more than just images, and it was just more than recreations. He became self-aware, and they were trying to figure out a way to save him because he was now a being. And that was one of my favorite things about the Doctor and Voyager. Hey, that dude Vince, you may know this, you may have it in front of you. What is the episode? Oh, it's Tuvix. No, there's 2 episodes. There's Tuvix, and then there's the episode where the Doctor, the holographic Doctor, has to save 1 or 2 people. One of them a no-name ensign that we don't know, and the other one is Ensign Kim. He ends up saving Ensign Kim, and the other ensign dies, and he goes through a guilt process that a robot or a hologram is not supposed to go through. But his programming had evolved to the point where he could now feel guilt for letting that person die. And then Janeway keeps going in and taking out those parts of his program so that he can function. But he keeps coming back because he's evolved. And finally, 7 of 9 says, "Hey, why are you doing that?" He's like, "Well, he can't function. He's going to destroy himself. He can't deal with the guilt." He says, "Well, you wanted him to evolve. You wanted me to evolve. We're here to, explore new life forms and let them evolve. How can he evolve if you don't let him deal with the guilt that all humans have to deal with and the emotions that all humans have to deal with?" And finally, she says, "You're right." And she leaves it in. And he gets overwhelmed with guilt, and they watch him overnight to, so they have a breakdown. But I love the evolution of that character, and whenever I would see him in other shows as just a regular emergency, because he's in First Contact, he's just a regular EMH there, but you see him how he evolves through the year. And then the other one was Tuvix, where Tuvok and Neelix had gotten mixed together in a transporting accident, and the resulting being was Tuvix, what they called him. And over the next coming week, people got attached to him, and they became friends with him. He became part of the crew. But Kes, who was Neelix's wife at the time, he's like, "I've lost my husband." She's like, "I've lost my husband." And he's like, and she goes to Janeway and says, "I mean, I know we've created this new being, but it's come at the expense of 2 of our crew members." And Janeway sides with her is because I can't. If there's a way to restore or save my 2 crew members, they have to come first. And it was that you could tell for the first time during the show that there was a schism in between the crew and her decision making, and not just the Maquis and the Starfleet guys, because it was even. And she goes up to the doctor, and they have a procedure that can split them, but that means killing Tuvix, and the doctor doesn't do it. He says, "My first oath is I can do no harm," and by following her orders, it would have meant the termination of a life form. So there's a conflict of interest there. But she, as a captain, she takes the tool from him and does it herself. And then you just see the look on everybody's faces. They just move on. They have no choice but to move on. But you're left to think as a viewer, was there a right or wrong answer? And that's one of the things that Voyager did better than any Star Trek show that I've seen so far. They constantly ran into situations to where there was no black or white. Like there was one episode where there was a cure for, I think, Neelix or somebody. It was a cure for B'Elanna. That she got something that happened to her, and there was a guy who had done experimentations and committed war crimes to come up with the research that he had the research that she needed, but it was a byproduct of experimentation, kind of like a Joseph Mengele type thing. And there was once again, it had a moral issue of, okay, do we save our crewmate, even if it means using things that people suffered to use? Once again, she decides to go a different route and find another way to save her. The problem I had with that, and like I said, it just breeds the best discussions, was, okay, we have a lot of technical advances that we have that came through horrific circumstances. I brought up Mengele. There's stuff. Remember when the Nazis lost and they raided all those offices and they got all the stuff that those Nazi scientists were that all that knowledge that they accumulated via torture. They didn't just throw that information away. Scientists all over the world use it. Now, what they did was horrible, but they decided back in the 40s that they were going to take some good out of all this horror, and if they could use certain things, say the NASA Warner was a Nazi jet propulsion scientist.
Werner von Braun, yeah.
Werner von Braun. Everything he was working on to the point of the end of the war was to develop long range missiles to attack us.
The V2, yeah.
The V2, and then all kinds of stuff that he had. What did they do? They didn't throw him in a cage. They brought him over here, made him a citizen, and guess what? He basically built NASA. He basically built the beginnings of NASA. If you look up NASA early beginnings, his name is synonymous with NASA. And we used his science to put a man on the moon. We used his science for intercontinental ballistic missiles, because remember, one of the things that justified NASA's funding was the fact that it could be used as a defense purpose as well. So you weren't just spending on space exploration. The same things, the same technology you could use to send a man into space, you could use to basically build a missile. And guess what? Those ICBMs, all those missiles that everybody was using their space programs to build, kept the world safe for almost 80 years. Because
and the operation that you're talking about, that brought those German scientists into our, basically pardoned them and gave them access to our science divisions, was Operation Paperclip.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip. And like I said, we ended up getting missiles. We ended up getting a lot of things. So
if it hadn't been for Werner von Braun and Jim Parsons, who was an occultist, by the way, we wouldn't have had JPL, Jet Propulsion Labs.
Yeah.
Which, of course, led to NASA and some other stuff.
So when you go back to her decision-making, I disagree with her. I disagree with her because I'm like, we can't go back in time and undo the horrors that these guys did.
Nope.
But something good has to come out of all that nightmare. And she had a chance to save Torres's life, and that's her crewmate. Her first responsibility is to save the lives and then to protect her crew. So I didn't think they should have done a moral dance there. But once again, that's the beauty of Voyager. They constantly threw that at you. They constantly threw the value of life versus duty.
I know you don't like the show Lower Decks. You're not interested in it, but do you remember the Exocomps?
Yeah.
There's a Exocomp that's a character in Lower Decks.
See, I'm slowly easing back in. They're leaving me breadcrumbs to come back to Lower Decks. I don't hate Lower Decks, by the way. It's just not for me. It's like Deadpool. I'm not gonna go see a Deadpool movie in the theaters. I don't like the character.
Well, the funny part is that the Exocomp that they use in Lower Decks is a jerk. So it's kind of funny watching a machine life form be a jerk.
I mean, if you look at the lack of emotions that they're not supposed to have,
yeah, right.
It's consistent. Let me do this real quick because I want to make sure that I am. Let's see. I don't want to do that. I have too many YouTube screens on. Let me turn the YouTube screens off because I was watching a bunch of streams today and I don't know why.
They apparently showed a trailer for Discovery Season 5 too.
That I did not see. I've been busy today. I did not see that one. Now I have something. I love Discovery. I thought it got off to a rocky start, but other than Voyager, every Star Trek has gotten off to a start that could have been better. They're still talking about Taffy. Tell Foley that Poindexter Lounge are friends with that junk man. Think it's matter of time. He doesn't. When I've talked to him, he doesn't mind coming on. It's just a matter of he's busy, and they stream and they do their stuff at the same time I do mine. So especially on Fridays. Fridays is when he usually does his show. So it's just a matter of linking up time. That's one of the reasons why the Friday show is so hard. Everybody's busy. Everybody's streaming. Everybody is over each other and doing, we have some people, like I said, that are, that jump from one stream to another that are guests on our stream sometimes and end up going like the Max stream like that. But they are actually doing content at the same time I'm streaming. I'll get them on eventually. It's just it'll probably be like a pre-record to line up with the time zones, especially if I ever want to get both of them on there. But he wasn't opposed to coming on. It was just our schedules. And that's a lot of things that I try to get guests on and interesting people on, so that they can give you the information that I'm always trying to tell you about. But a lot of it, especially the days I stream on, like right now I stream pretty late. If you're on the East Coast, this is your 1 o'clock in the morning right now. On Friday, there's no time during the day. Even if you were in the same city as I was, Friday night at 6 is a really tough time to stream. Most of the people that watch our stream end up watching it later on that evening, and they end up watching it after the fact. So
there's a
guest on there,
There's an Australian YouTuber who does movie facts for various movies. It's Minty Comedic Arts. He does top 10 lists for like top 10 things you didn't know about the production of this movie or that movie or whatever. He mentioned that Junk Man the other day in one of his episodes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Junk Man is pretty cool. Yeah, I love him from Georgia. Love his.
Yeah, I was like, I posted in his comments on his video. I was like, yeah, because it was in his Batman '89 video, and he talked about that Junk Man. Had a video about Batman '89.
Yeah, I think I need to get Junk Man on here too.
I commented him. I told him, I said, yeah, I know that guy, that Junkman guy.
Hey, pull up that image that Vince sent you of that Enterprise F. He says he sent you an Enterprise F and an Instagram screenshot. I want to see it.
Hold on.
Let's see. I totally missed the Enterprise F being in there. But yeah, Star Trek, man, dude. I wish I could get. I sent Brian a link because I wanted to. As soon as I saw the trailer today, I'm like, dude, I got to talk to Brian about this. But I think Cool. He always fucks up and calls me that dude's Vince. I'll have to make sure poke him. I saw something about the haircut. Yeah, I'm not sure where we're at with the haircut. Sorry, I was focused so much on the Black Adam thing. Here's my opinion about the haircut. If it comes out, it's wonderful. I really think there's a much darker, a much more movie aligned with my sensibilities in his cut. The biggest issue that um, the reason why I don't think it's gotten as much traction as like the Snyder cut is the fact that when Suicide Squad was released, it made money. It actually did quite well for what it was, for a bunch of throwaway characters and Harley Quinn basically carrying a bunch of characters nobody ever heard of. That movie made more money than it was expected to. That's why one of the reasons why that character got her own movies, and you even got the opportunity for Suicide. I mean, but that movie made money, so they've never really felt the need to go back and redo a movie that made money because it's not going to make more profit than it is. And to be honest with you, as much as I disagree with a lot of what Warner Brothers did, not going back, even though they probably should have let the movie be as is. But now that it was released and it made money and it was successful, even if a lot of people panned it, money talks, bullshit walks. I was never really rushing to see the Ayer cut. Now, that being said, if you are going to say that, at some point we are going to revisit the continuation of the Darkseid arc with that we left off what was Zack Snyder's Justice League, now release it, because now it makes business sense to release it, because you have a character in there and Jared Leto's Joker that is further developed into what you will see in any further narrations of that story, because that was one of the whole reasons why you even had the Suicide Squad, was to bring certain characters into the fold for the ultimate story that he was going to tell. So if you get an Ayer cut and that gives you more detail on Harley's relationship with Jared Leto's Joker, then I'm all for it, because it leads to something bigger. If you're not going to do the continuation of the Darkseid arc, to me, it makes no sense. I mean, yeah, people will get the true artist vision, but now you got to pay for it. You got to pay for something that already made you money, and that's not going to make you any significant amount more money other than, putting it on streaming, which it sounds like Zaslav wants to put a lot of his bucks into, theatrical. I don't know. Either way, if it came out, great, I'd support it. If it didn't come out, I'm all right with that way. But like I said, on the caveat that if you were to continue the story with Justice League, where that character evolves even more and is relevant, then yes, go ahead and release the Ayer cut, because it makes sense now. That's just my opinion. All right. Let's see. Stop screen. All right. Oh, you put the image in the link too? Can we click on that? I see a couple of links that you put. Here, let me see if I can copy that link. And I saw that. Damn it. You still there, Zaid?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I'm trying to see if I can. How do I do this? I don't want to put you on time. Okay. All right, send it to me. Can you send it to me?
I'm going to send it to your Twitter. Hold on.
Okay, cool. Do that, and I'll get back on there, and then let me do that, because I really want to see that Enterprise F, because I love that ship. I love the E. The Sovereign class E is probably one of my favorite Star class ships. So, all right.
Well, it looks a lot like the Sovereign.
All right, I got your messenger open. All right, so where are we at? Let's go back here.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it to you, and then I'll come back up.
Okay. Standard view, default view. Let's see, fumbling around. Default view, here we go. And all right, so now I got my normal chat up here. That StreamYard chat is confusing. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I guess people have seen the Ayer cut. So I mean, yeah, he's had it. Like I said, it's like I said, if we're in a good place now when it comes to these characters. The only thing I ask is, like I said, call me what you want to call me. I'm a Snyder fan. If you want to call me a bro or a cultist or whatever the fuck, I like his versions of the characters. I have been watching comic book movies since 1980, since I saw the very first Superman movie in the theaters. So, and I love Zack Snyder stuff. I want to see more of it. If that makes me some kind of cultist or whatever, that's fine. But for guys like me who haven't made a lot of noise, who haven't like insulted people, threatened people, or bullied people, who just want to see the further, continuation of the storyline, we're in a good place now because you can't. I keep on hearing restore the Snyderverse, restore the Snyderverse. To me, it's resolve the Snyderverse or conclude the Snyderverse because I think you can do both. Now, you cannot get to any of those outcomes, however, without the participants. Without Cavill, it makes no sense. The Snyderverse makes no sense to go forward. Without Affleck, without Ezra Miller, these things don't make any sense. So right now, we're in a good place. We have the first step. I don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know whether they're going to go full blown. I don't know whether they're going to tell you their own story. I don't know whether they're going to. I don't know what they're going to call canon yet. I think Black Adam might help us out a little bit, but right now we don't know anything. And to be honest with you, this is the time to not know anything and just sit back. Just sit back because we're getting small victories, and I think sometimes people don't know what a victory is. I heard people griping over the theme, the John Williams theme. I'm like, that's allegedly in the movie when Cavill comes out, allegedly, if he's there. I wouldn't care if Henry Cavill came out to this theme song to Laverne and Shirley.
I wouldn't either.
Henry Cavill on the screen for the first time on a big screen, not including Zack Snyder's Justice League, but on a proper cinematic release. I see Henry Cavill for however many seconds he's on there. I don't care. I'm not gonna dive into the other stuff. I got a victory. For the storytelling I want to see, I got a victory. I'm not gonna find defeat in that victory. Next time we see him again, maybe he'll have his Hans Zimmer thing, and that's fine. You know what? I don't like nostalgia to the point where we're reliving Christopher Reeve's Superman because that's not Christopher Reeve's Superman. But I understand at the same time the marketing aspect of using that theme. For 40 some odd years, that was the theme that unified people when it comes to Superman. But guess what? No matter what theme that they played, that's Henry Cavill on your screen if he's in there. If he's in there. I don't care what the background music is. People are like, well, he says something cheesy. I don't care if he says, how do you want your fucking fries? It's Henry Cavill wearing the Superman suit. Victory. Let's move on to the next victory, which is getting him a full-on movie or a storyline to where even if it's not a solo Cavill movie, a movie to where he is a prominent part in it. I don't care. You know what? You want to fight Dwayne? You want to fight him? You want to get your licks in? You want to get your name up there with fighting Superman? I get Superman. I win. You know what? So right now, we're in a place right now that we have not been in when it comes to DC films. And it's a really, really exciting place to be. We're starting to, after the 21st of October, there's a possibility that our conversations can be about, wow, I can't wait to see what's next. We can stop this misery index, all right? We can stop the griping because they will have given us something to look forward to. Took them long enough. But if everything pans out the way I think it's going to pan out on, after Black Adam, forget about Black. Once we see Black Adam, we've registered in our mind. We put that in the back of our heads. It's not about Black Adam. It's about what's coming next. What's next? And being excited about in a positive manner about what is next. Instead of being like, wow, I guess we'll wait another 5 years. Oh, here's some Blue Beetle. How about some Wonder Twins? Let's go ahead and dance around all of our alpha characters. Let's dance around all of our big guns and give you all the little ammo because we don't know what to do with the main character. And that's what this is all about. There's a reason why we haven't seen some of these characters on the screen, and mainly him, in a long time, because they didn't know what to do with them. When they disrupted the original plan, they didn't have one. See, we would be so over a lot of this, one way or another, if the last 5 years we'd have had a Superman of some sorts. Because 5 years of dealing with that Superman one way or another would have settled in. But they didn't have a plan. They just had a void. 5 years without Superman? You're making DC movies within a DC universe without the big red S? No, right? And Zaslav understood that coming in. And I don't like everything he has done, But when it comes to respecting the Trinity, I can't ask for anything more. All right. And I'm not going to nitpick. I'm not going to nitpick because a certain theme song isn't there. If Cavill is there, the theme to Tom and Jerry could precede him. I don't care. All right.
Exactly.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time. All right. Let me go to the chat. All right. We really don't know what place we're in, how the new regime will handle the characters going forward. Goofy, serious future is not set. And you know what, Fourth? That's probably the best position we've been in a long time. Because what we did know pissed us off. So we can speculate now, and given the fact that I can kind of eliminate Goofy, because Black Adam, hey, by the way, Black Adam's a pretty violent looking movie. He's killing people. He's killing people on the trailer. He fries a guy in one of the TV spots with his lightning bolts. His son's about to get beheaded. I mean, there's some violence in that movie. So I think Goofy. Now, can there be some sense of humor in there? Yeah, dude, craft some jokes. The difference between a movie like Deadpool, for me, the movie is a joke. The movie's aim is for comedy. That's fine. That's not for me.
Well, Deadpool after a certain point was a character made for comedy anyway, so.
Exactly. He developed from what Nick Aiza and Layfield created him in. And like I said, that is fine. If you love Deadpool and have had a thrill going to see it in the movies, have at it. I can't stand those movies, to be honest with you. And that's why I went last week, Hugh Jackman's coming back. Oh, I'm like, okay, great. What, anything else going on this week? I don't think I could have cared. I know that was big news in the macro, but as far as movies that like move my needle, didn't move my needle at all. And I love Hugh Jackman as that character. Personally, I don't think you're going to get the type of emotions any more than Logan gave me. So just seeing Hugh Jackman in that role is not good enough for me. Seeing Hugh Jackman perform in that where that movie should have been nominated. I think if it was nominated for Academy Award, he should have been nominated for Best Actor that year. Not saying he should have won, but he should have been nominated that year. All right, that was a great performance. Logan is one of my all-time favorite comic book movies in the entire time I've been on the planet. So me seeing Hugh Jackman play that character again, it's like I saw the best Hugh Jackman Logan.
Okay, did you get that Enterprise F image I sent you?
Yeah, let me look in here real quick. But yeah, so when it comes to okay, I got it. Ooh.
It's called an Odyssey class. It's a modified sovereign.
That actually, let's bring this up. Let me finish my thought real quick because I'm really bad at that. So yeah, fourth. I think we're in a good spot. I think we're in a great. I think Goofy would have been Wonder Twins. That got asked. Goofy might be Blue Beetle, depending on I haven't seen the script. And now here's where I love about this whole situation. You bring up Blue Beetle, I'm like, so fucking what? Why are we talking about a Z character when I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with Alpha? But now I have movement in the Alphas. I have movement with Ben Affleck. I have movement in 2 weeks, possibly with the Alpha, with Superman. Now, when you start moving the Alphas into position, I start caring about the betas and the other characters that draw their strength from the Alphas being put in that position. I start looking at Blue Beetle in a way that I didn't give a rat's ass about before. I start looking at movies like Shazam. I start looking at movies like, anything you want to throw at me now. Once you've created that environment, I start giving you the benefit of the doubt. And I think that's the same way it is with the general fan. That's why the talking raccoon can make lots of money. Not if you put the talking raccoon and his tree sidekick and all those other goofy characters in Guardians of the Galaxy, if you just made a movie standalone, nothing to do with the Marvel Universe, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't exist, that is a straight-to VOD movie, and some people probably get fired on the way to that. Is you look at Guardians of the Galaxy in the context of the MCU because you've never had not the MCU to as that lens to look through it. But because they had built their universe in such a way that you could feed those fans things, and they're gonna be more accepting to it. Whereas if you start giving me Blue Beetle and Gleek the monkey and Jan and Jay and turn it into water and air and gas and stuff like that, when I haven't seen Superman since 2017, I'm going to tell you, fuck off. All right. And the general audience is going to be like, who? And that's why we're here with Black Adam. The conversation about Black Adam, as good as that movie looks, it's not been about Black Adam. Somebody knows who the fuck he is. The conversation is about Cavill. Why? And not just Cavill. The conversation is about Superman. So we're starting to get it. And I think, fourth, we are in a good place. I think we got a guy in there that is thinking money. He's a corporate shill still, but he has the same respect for these characters that a lot of us do. And I think we're on the right trail. So let's see if anybody has any more to say about that. Man, MOS 2 can be the new WF84 for all we know until we get it. That's true, but here's the thing. If Black Adam is good, I'm pretty sure that $7 Theater will probably do with anything else that Cavill does. That's probably part of the deal that it's $7. If I see a good Black Adam, a solid Black Adam movie, I don't think I'm gonna have a problem guessing that the next time you see Cavill, it's gonna be good. The problem with Wonder Woman 84 is, and this is something I haven't no evidence of the way they'll treat Superman, is that character, that version of Wonder Woman, also created by Zack Snyder. There's the further you get away from his direct influence of that character, other people start implementing things that don't necessarily fit what he created the character to be. He created that character to be a vicious warrior that knows war and defense of her nation, defense of mankind, and her introductory into seeing what mankind could do to each other in World War II. That is her psyche. When you saw that picture of her holding the head in the Crimean War, that is the DNA of Zack Snyder put into that character. The problem with Wonder Woman 84, it diverges too far away from the core essence of what that character was. You're right. It all depends on how they handle Superman going forward. Like I said, I will only have Black Adam to go by if he's in there, and I will have to give them the benefit of the doubt until otherwise. With Wonder Woman 84, I gave them the benefit of the doubt until I saw otherwise. Till I saw that awful movie on Christmas Day that I wasted 2 hours on, and I'm not a big fan of Patty Jenkins doing another one. And people say, well, everybody has a bad day at the office, but I'm like, I think the problem with Wonder Woman to me is that version of it, I think it needs somebody that thinks like Zack Snyder did. It doesn't have to be him, but it has to be somebody that appreciates the design of that character that he put into it. I don't think that the current people handling Wonder Woman can do that. Now, do we have this Wonder Woman 3? If story's done, the script is done, I guess, and we'll have to wait and see if she comes back home with the character. But without a Zack Snyder type influence or somebody who views the character in the way that he did and the way he showed her to us, I don't know. So, but I gave Wonder Woman 84 benefit of the doubt until it sucked. I'm going to do that same thing for Superman or whatever they got coming up next. Can it get any worse than what we've been seeing? All right, let's see. All right, I'm just worried that they'll make DCU just dumb instead of high form cinema. You know what? I don't know if you've been listening to not only what Zazoff has said, but who he's put into position. I just don't see the people that he's currently surrounding himself with, not putting out high quality stuff. Remember, he canceled Batgirl, and not just for money. That was one of the big reasons, but one of the main reasons he canceled that because he didn't think it met the quality of what they had envisioned going forward, which means he has a certain standard that he's not going to let his films go below. So I think if you just go based on that criteria, the fact that he's willing to cancel and delay and do reshoots in order to get into and maintain a certain quality, I think those are good signs. I understand where you're coming from because of what we've had. It's hard to let go of the ghost of what we had and embrace hopefully something new. But I'm ready to do it, dude. 9 years of this shit. I'm ready. I'm ready for something good to happen.
Patty Jenkins was talking the other day in an interview somewhere. I caught a part of it because Caden posted it on Twitter. But she was talking about they've already wrote Wonder Woman 3 and they're already starting to work on it.
Yeah. And you know what? Like I said, I lost faith in her ability to do it. Remember, the first Wonder Woman that came out, her first solo movie, was executive produced by Zack Snyder. They worked in a collaboration. A bunch of people worked in a collaboration. It wasn't just Zack Snyder, but he was in the room. He understands. He casted that character. He wrote that character, and the first 2 times you were supposed to have seen her, and that is his character. And like I said, I think he added something to that character that needs to be there. And I think that entire edge was taken away in Wonder Woman 84. Now, does that mean that Patty Jenkins can't take a look at that and be like, you know what? Let's go back home. I'll go see it. Don't have a lot of faith because that movie was awful. But hey, I'm here. It's not going to be the end of the world. My $13 or $14, depending on if we want it. I am willing. I have more hope about a Wonder Woman 3 because it's happening under a different regime that looks like their standards are don't waste our money. We're not going to put something on our big screen that's not going to be consistent with what we think DC should be. And he sounds like he's putting DC at the top. I get the feeling, at least, that David Zaslav is putting DC at the top. I haven't heard that kind of talk since 2012, 2013. I haven't heard a Warner Brothers executive in any of these previous regimes speak of DC and the value, and especially as IP wise goes, that he has. Now, he still has to execute. You're right, Forth. He could come out and put out some Benny Hill bullshit, and we just laugh. And we just say, oh, my goodness, we're done. Then I'm going to be back on here saying, damn, that's a disappointment. That sucks. Now where do we go? But right now, I'm in between that misery that I've had since 2013 and what could be, and I'm in that middle place where I'm like, yeah, I got a little bit of hope. All right, let me pull up this picture because this picture is pretty cool. So let's go here, and dude, StreamYard has got to come up with a better way to share screens, man.
I know, right?
This is just too. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right. See, look at that. I don't like this because when you do it, you only see the one screen unless you have multiple screens sitting on your desktop. But the other way, it just did that right onto the screen. So I'm gonna go get something to drink here, and I'm gonna blow this up for you. And go ahead and start describing that, Thade.
So yeah, it looks like it has the Sovereign saucer section and the drive section. Those nacelles are slightly different. But where it looks really the most different is I've got some underside shots of it. It looks different on the underside. Like the whole underside carriage looks different. What's up, Dork Knight? But yeah, I mean well, I guess the front of the saucer section's a little bit different. It's more like the Voyager saucer section.
Now, what I can see, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now what I see on this is if you look at the last, why is my air conditioner not working? Come on now, got it down to 70. If you look at it, the season finale of the first season of Picard, where all those ships came in and they looked exactly alike.
Yeah,
remember those? And they all, I mean, and what's his face was on board. One of them, he's like, it's as fast as most of it. It looks exactly like that ship.
Yeah.
And it means to tell me that at that point in time, all of Starfleet ships looked alike. Because I remember that was one of the biggest that was one of the biggest criticisms that a lot of people had when they saw the ship come through. Is he had like a bunch of ships. Who are they fighting? They were fighting they're fighting the Romulans. They were fighting like a certain type of Romulans, and he came in and he basically, he was wearing his uniform again. He came out of retirement, and they were all the same ship. So this looks like that ship. It's nice. I mean, I just wish that they would have taken that design that they used for the Titan and made it to Enterprise. Listen, if you're going to go nostalgia, go nostalgia. The Enterprise is an integral part of this crew and multiple Enterprises. The two major crews that we've always associated with the Enterprise, which is Kirk's crew and Picard's crew, have been through at least two ships. You have the 1701 and 1708 for the original crew, and then you have the 1701D and then the E for the Picard crew. So I would have loved to have seen, if you're going to say goodbye to this crew, say goodbye with the Enterprise. Now, that's not saying that it can't, that it's not going to come through, but if you have it sitting there, it's, to me, the Enterprise is the eighth cast member of that group, more so than anything else. Just like the Voyager. If I see the Voyager crew again, I know this show was called Voyager and DS9 was called DS9, but hold on, that's just too loud. Hold on for a second. Be right back.
It just looks like to me it has elements of the Voyager and the Sovereign class. Which the Voyager was the Intrepid class, I believe.
Yeah, Voyager was the Intrepid class, and like I said, and this is without seeing. I'll have to go over to see a Trek Guards and see what they say about this one, because it's
they did a 2-hour stream today about Comic-Con, so
okay, I'll have to jump on there, man. I'm never gonna get any sleep. But yeah, I like I said, that's my only criticism about this season is why are we not doing the doing Enterprise, because the Enterprise is a big part of that show. It's like I said, it's the other cast member.
Right.
Let's see. So, all right, let me see. All right, Chappie, I got your name right once tonight, so I'm not going to keep, it gets harder for me to talk as it gets later. Well, I'm excited for Henry Cavill returning in Black Adam post-credit scene. I'm not a fan of them using John Williams' theme. It doesn't fit with Henry Cavill. I 100% agree, and I understand where the people like on Junkie Stream last night. I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I'm the 2-step forward guy. The John Williams stream is not even a step back, because I think that if we see him again, it'll be his theme. It'll be Hans Zimmer's theme. I don't think that's going to be an issue. It's just that, that, and I agree with you, and I agree with everybody last night. That is, that theme does strike a chord with people, but at the same time, it strikes a chord and brings back memory of a person that's not Superman anymore. So, but at the same time, that's on the one hand. The other hand is, I got Cavill up on the screen in the costume, and 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't know if we were ever going to get that, and it looks like that we're going to get that. And like I said, it could come out to the theme of Three's Company. As long as I look up in the sky and I see that red cape and that S, and apparently it's a brighter colored costume, which I'm on board with too. I will take these small victories. You know what? I will take a little bit of shit on the diamond that I'm about to get, because eventually it's a step. We can't get to where we want with these characters without the first step. Cavill is he's the most important step. He's literally, if you got all these other actors back and you didn't get Cavill back, it doesn't mean as much, especially if you're talking about Justice League and continuation of anything. If you have to start over because the Alpha is Superman, then it's a long road. So right out of the gate, the most important piece of this puzzle, no matter where they take it, has been put into place, it appears like. And I'm happy with that. And I completely understand about the John Williams thing, even though I love as somebody, wow, you know what? I don't know if you guys can feel the vibrations of these clowns and the music that they're playing really loud. If the music you're playing vibrates other people's glass, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, dude, I've had to because they party all the time out here, my neighbors. And I've actually been on streams with you guys. That's why I had to get the noise canceling headset and stuff. So you guys, there's been times where I've been afraid to stream because all you guys would hear was my neighbors outside.
Can you hear that? Can you hear my background, or am I just a grumpy old man?
I can't hear it, which is good.
Okay, I can hear it, and I'm in a place of business. By the way, we're not at my house. We're the occasional knucklehead neighbor is loud and have barbecues, and that's fine. I'm in a place
I wish it was the occasional knucklehead neighbor with me. It's all of them with me.
I mean, I'm over here. I just hate inconsiderate things. But anyway, back to the topic. Since you guys can't hear it, then that's fine. That's my only concern because it's anyway. Yeah. So understand. I agree, Chappie. It's just like I said. I if I can continue to make progress here, eventually we'll make progress and we'll start getting the things we need. But that first step is so important. It's so important, that first step. All right. So let's see. More Chappie. I'm hoping maybe they can change it in the last second. You know what they might, even though I can see why they are doing it. I can completely see why they made the decision. I don't agree with the decision. I understand why they made it. That theme song reaches across the generations that they want on board. They right now, because Superman has been so dormant for 5 years, and we've only heard the Zimmer soundtrack. How many times is Cavill Man of Steel, the Raggedy Justice League movie where we didn't get the Zimmer score, we got the Danny Elfman Williams, whatever the hell that was. So we've had him on screen for basically 3 movies. One of them was awful. If you don't include Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was never released in theaters, we've had him on screen for less than 3 movies. If you figure only one solo movie for him, and the other 2 movies were tandem movies. All right, they're thinking that a generational score that's been around for 45 years and has become recognizable with Superman is a safer bet. If you want to take that safe bet, I'm okay with it. I would rather, if the sentence starts with "we're putting Cavill back in the red cape and the S," I go deaf after that. Anything I get beyond that, for right now. Now we talk about Man of Steel 2 or Black Adam versus Superman or wherever we see him again, and he's a significant force in that movie, and he's not just in, and we're still talking John Williams. Now you may have an issue because you're not letting Cavill Superman breathe and develop. You've invested the money into him. You said he's your Superman. Now it's time for him to look and sound like his Superman. Post-credit scene, having it sound that way, if that is the case, I can take it. I would have gone a different direction, but I can take this. This is not a world ender for me. So yeah, I agree with it. Once again, I'm not agreeing with you at all. Yeah, they need to remove Patty. I am on that thought, and like I said, and I should probably be a little bit more open minded and say, hey, maybe she had a bad day at the office. Give her one more shot to Gal Gadot's 37 years old, so we don't know how much Wonder Woman she wants to do. Not that she's too old; she still looks great. But at certain points in time, people want to move on to other things. Does she want to be Wonder Woman? It's different with Cavill. Cavill wants to be Superman, but does she want to? I don't know. I haven't had any conversation with her, but as long does she want to do be in all these superhero movies? And she has Cleopatra coming up, but I would love for her to. I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I just that Wonder Woman 2 just put a bad taste in my mouth. But like I said, maybe Wonder Woman 3 will put a good taste. I'm under a different regime because I think who knows what a different regime would have said about that movie being handed into them. They might have said, no, go back and make some changes. No, this doesn't work. I mean, I didn't have a lot of faith in the previous regime in their decision making. So that movie came under that regime. This regime has higher standards, so we make it a better movie. So, Patty Jenkins is a very good director. You are 100% correct. She's not a bad director at all. I mean, and don't for anybody who's hearing me criticize Wonder Woman 2, that doesn't mean Patty Jenkins is a bad director. After seeing Wonder Woman 84, I have some questions about whether she's the right director for this project. Not every director is a fit for every project. Patty Jenkins, she directed Monster. Got what's her face, a Best Academy Award for that. And a lot of that was her directing. I mean, Patty Jenkins is a brilliant mind, but the question is, after seeing Wonder Woman 84, is she the fit for the Wonder Woman you need to fit in this universe as far as that goes? After seeing Wonder Woman 84, no. And the only instant I've ever seen her do Wonder Woman was with material that she was given to that was closer to what Zack Snyder put out with that character. And I am going to say, people can disagree with me, the further you move away from these characters when it's Zack Snyder, when he's the one who cast them, he's the one who put the DNA in him, the further away you move from that type of storytelling, you run the risk. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do it. But you have to understand, you can't just abandon what these characters were and go in that drastic of a direction that you did. If you take Superman and you decide to make him a little bit not lighthearted in comedy, but a little bit more hopeful, which is like I've always said, if people would have given him the time, I think Zack Snyder would have taken you on a journey that led to that Superman. But no one was everybody wanted an instant, TV dinner and done in 2 minutes. But you could take Superman in a different direction and that would be his natural evolution. What Wonder Woman 84 was not the natural evolution of the character that we saw, and then they did the 80s horrible. So that's coming from a child of the 80s. So, just the Blue Monday or that. All right, so Patty Jenkins is a good director, but she needs a team with a writer. Yeah, and like I said, I think she's a great director, but she wasn't just a director in this one. She did a lot more in Wonder Woman 84 than she did previously. Okay, Catherine Bigelow. Well, all right. So once again, I think some of it comes a bit down to leadership as well. When these guys come up with these ideas and do these scripts and say the direction that they're going to go through with a movie, it gets handed into somebody that says yay or nay. And if you have a leadership group that says yay to the wrong things, I can only blame people to a certain extent. Now, if the leadership would have said, you know what, we want this character has been successful in 2 different movies, her own movie and Batman vs. Superman being done this way, we want to stay consistent with that. If the leadership would have said that, then you give her the parameters to work with. Maybe we would have gotten a different product, but they didn't. They gave her a lot of freedom to do whatever she wanted with this one, and it just wasn't a fit for the character. So I don't. If Catherine Bigelow, I've only Hurt Locker and she's done some other stuff. She's an Academy Award winner. When it came in I don't know if Catherine Bigelow would have taken Wonder Woman 84 in a totally drastic direction. But what would have been the different thing, though, I guess, would be the leadership and saying, no, this worked for us. This is the way we want. We're going to give you certain parameters. You have the freedom beyond that. But we want the brutal running through the World War I trench. We want the beheading, the Crimean picture. We want the warrior with the sword and shield. Wonder Woman. We don't want the Linda Evans type Wonder Woman. If the leadership and the management says this is what we're hiring you to do, and they stand on it, and then they hand the project over to her, and she executes what they give them, then it's different. It's kind of like I said, not everything has to be by Marvel, but the one thing that he'll give his directors certain freedoms, but they work within the confines of what they're told to before they're even hired. He sits them down. And he says, this is what we're working with, and here's what I need you to do. And there's that communication. With DC management, there's never been that communication. That's why we're all over the place. So I don't know if bringing in Bigelow would have made a difference if the leadership was bad at the time. Now we got what looks like good leadership. So who knows? All right, the Dark Knight, long time no see. Greetings from Not Scary Farm. Oh wow, I haven't been to Not Scary Farm in a long time. It just made me feel old. Why is there somebody per stream that makes me feel old? Damn it. All right. I wonder. I would rather see a director, Patty Jenkins. You know what? That's fine. I can't. If she does a third movie and the third one is great, then we look at the whole trilogy as a whole. Indiana Jones. I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull sucked, but 1 and 2 were great. 3 was all right. People love 3, but do I look one bad movie? Do I look at one bad Indiana Jones movie as part of the and destroys the series? Nah. I mean, there's enough good right now. She's 1 and 1. So if she goes 2 and 1, we're gonna look at the trilogy as something cool. When you buy the box set of the Wonder Woman trilogy, you can just skip Wonder Woman 84, and watch it for the extra stuff in it. But there we go. Hey, how you doing, Daniel? All right, so we definitely need Cavill. Yeah, he's the key. He really is the key to all this, and he's always been the key, even before we had movies. Superman has always been the key, and the established Superman right now is Cavill. We don't have time to waste on going back to square one. Superman is the key. You have an established MILF magnet that people like. All right, this is his time, and you got him. It's very important. All right, my neighbors are playing Guatemalan music and thumping in my wall. Yeah, dude, and there's a studio next to me, and I thought if you had a studio, you had to be pretty much soundproof and vibration proof, but apparently we're gonna have some issues. And like I said, it just you guys can't hear it, but I can hear it, and I can when I'm trying to get my frame of thought, I'm boom, 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 oh, and I'm stopping and starting again. So, all right, for all we know, Cavill over custody. True. I doubt it, but like I said, I have no way to refute that. I was not in the room. A lot of these guys talk like they're in the room, like they're they're under the table when he's negotiating. I am not. I am sitting at my little raggy comic book store. So, fourth, we could have an interview somewhere where somebody brings that up and he can say, "I chose that." You could be 100% right. If he chose that, I think that he did himself a slight disservice, because the more you hear Zimmer's theme with him, that is his identity, But once again, that is, I to me, the score for the end credit scene is just a non-starter or stopper for me, because I got Cavill back as Superman. I cannot wait because we're going to be doing a 2-day event. We're going to be doing one on the 19th, one on the 20th, where we're going to have our own theater, our own people, and we're going to be watching this. We're going to watch it before it gets released, and then the night before it gets released. So Wednesday and Thursday of 2 weeks from now. I cannot wait to be in the theater and hear the reaction when you see him, if he's there. When you see Cavill, after all this time, especially for us hardcore fans, after all this consternation, when you see him, it's gonna be like when we did No Way Home. We all knew that those cats were in the movie. They did a horrible job hiding it, and it was too big, too much to hide. It did not change the fact. I was sitting in, and you can ask RJ. I was sitting in the theater with people who had tears in their eyes when they saw Andrew Garfield. And this is a maligned Andrew Garfield that people were just capped on the whole time, saying, "Oh, his movies were horrible." I liked his movies, but when he comes popping through that port, spoiler alert, it's been like 2 years now. When he comes popping through that portal, the reaction from the crowd when he takes off that mask and you see it's Andy Garfield was special. When Tobey Maguire comes through and he's not in costume, he just turns around and you see it's him, that response was even more special. Now, I'm obviously not thinking that the response when we first see Cavill, if he's there, I keep prefacing, if he's there, their response is going to be special on its own. Just to see him in there, just to see Superman again, no matter who's playing him, but just to seeing Superman again after 5 years is going to be good. And at that point, I'm not even going to hear the musical score, because I think at the screenings that I'm going to be at and I'm hosting, that the crowd noise is going to be overwhelming. And there's only a handful of times where you get those kind of special moments in a movie because we know everything. We have the internet. We have all these things come out, and then it's really hard to have special moments like that. I really think that if Cavill's in this movie at the end of Black Adam, it's going to be special, and more people are going to be talking about that cameo than the whole movie, which is fine. It's like more people were talking about the Spider-Man scene at the end of Let There Be Carnage. Business is business. I'm okay with it. So let's see. All right. Jeff Johns is a problem with a lot of things. And it's sad because Jeff Johns is a brilliant storyteller if he has oversight. When Jeff Johns becomes the oversight or becomes part of the oversight, that's when you get shit like Doomsday Clock, which almost fucked up the DCU again. We were literally
okay.
on the
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I had to change out my connection for my headset.
Okay. But what was I saying? Oh, Jeff Johns. Without the proper editors in chief and supervision, Jeff Johns going crazy. He likes to make these all-encompassing. He likes to absorb everything and turn it his way. And you got to realize there's other creators, other directions in there, and that's what he's done with DC. That's why a lot of the storylines that he gets a lot of credit for, you have to tie them back to things that really hurt DCEU. As an individual storyteller or a group of stories, he's fine. When he ascends to that point in time to where he's controlling a lot of things, or in the point of him being ever involved, he should have never been involved on the level he was with DC Films. He's a great storyteller, but we need people at the top that are looking towards the mutual goals of the story, and I don't think he was. And I think it's evidenced in everything every movie that he's been involved in. For better or for worse, everything he's been involved with has that signature of what he is. A brilliant storyteller that needs to be reined in and overseen. So not a bad person in general. I never met him. But I've always seen that's been an issue with Jeff Johns. Is once again, we go back to the leadership thing. Some of these people that we like to throw darts at we have to understand that we are viewing them through the lens of bad leadership, especially for the last 9 years. All right, Walter Hamada. People like to use Walter Hamada as a punching bag. I don't think he was a fit for DC Films, but we predicted for years, or almost a year and a half, when we knew the merger was happening, that as soon as the new regime took over, that he was going to be gone because the new regime is going to want to bring in their new people, and he was never fit to begin with. But had any of these guys been under decent leadership, people would have said, like, okay, no, Wonder Twins, are you out of your fucking mind? Go back to the drawing board and bring me something I can use. A Suicide Squad movie, in the same DCEU, and we're Superman at. In fact, every time these guys bring me some crumbs about some bullshit about Blue Beetle, about Gleek the monkey, or about Booster Gold, or about Nork the Green Lantern, my response to them: where's Superman? Where's this universe you just brought me the crumbs of? Where's the Superman? Where's the Batman? Where's the Wonder Woman? Don't bring me shit. Don't bring me the bologna and cheese until you bring me the steak. All right.
Yeah.
Don't go back to your office, close the door, lock your ass in there until you come back with Superman, until you come back with Batman, until you come back with Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and so on. Then once you've given me the attraction that I can make some money on, then we can turn around and use that momentum and that success and start bringing some of your other things in there. But if there had been decent leadership and when Hamada was running things, I think we may have gotten a better product. I don't think he was a fit for DC Films, and he needed to go. But I'm also forming that judgment under bad leadership. And so there we go. So yeah, Jeff Johns, that's the name. That's a polarizing.
We've got a super chat.
Yeah, Clint loves not. In fact, you know what, Clint? I don't know if this shit's still good. I'm sorry, dude. I never took this home with me. I've been going through a lot lately. Can you keep it's never been in the refrigerator. So, Clint, is this barbecue sauce still good? Sorry. If it is, I'll take it home today. I suck. You know it. All right. Where's the super chat at? Or it must be way down. Oh, here's Daniel Martin. All right, Daniel, thank you for the support on behalf of the Poindexter Round and Enosh and all that. Yeah, you know what? I don't make the noise though. You see what I mean? If you're making hip hop music, you are projecting sound out. You need to put some shit up on your wall so that I don't hear that.
Right?
Right? I shouldn't have to keep. If you got ants in your apartment, you need to spray some damn Raid. I don't need to put plastic up and live in a war zone because you're fucking up next door. Stop fucking up. And that's a problem. You know, now, if they pay for my soundproofing, but I shouldn't have to go the extra mile and you shouldn't be doing that shit. You're in a studio. You're supposed to have all that foam and stuff up on your screen. You're supposed to have that anti-vibrate. They got all kinds of stuff that if you're running the studio, you should know about. All right, so yeah. Soundproofing incoming for somebody. Thanks for the super chat, though.
Somebody ought to be soundproofed.
Yeah, for good. Fourth 1,000 Williams score definitely folks that feel good, but the Zimmer score will narrate. Hey, listen, dude, Hans Zimmer, and I'm going to say this right now, is the greatest composer out there, living or dead for me.
He's pretty good.
Hans Zimmer is a living, breathing, fucking legend.
I loved his score on Dune, Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
And Denis Villeneuve is going to use him in every movie he possibly can.
I know.
Take that to the bank.
Didn't Zimmer do the score for Blade Runner?
Yes. Blade Runner 2049. I always tell people when I bring up this movie, which you know how I feel about that, Seawall changed my life. All right. Hearing Seawall, which is Hans Zimmer and Benjamin Wallace, I guess they did Dunkirk together too. Benjamin Wallace. Just I after 2 hours and 40 minutes of Blade Runner 2049, you think I'd want to get the hell out of here. Go pee, go eat, go to sleep, because we saw it at 10 o'clock at night. I saw it the first showing in Vegas that I'd waited so long. You think I just want to get the hell out of there. I don't need the credits. It's not a Marvel Comics movie, so we're not waiting. It's not a comic movie, so we're not waiting for a post-credit scene. We're not doing any of that. I'm getting up and I'm making my way towards the IMAX. So that's the only, I don't like IMAX, but the two movies, Top Gun and that, I had to see in IMAX. So I'm making my way down the stairs. And all of a sudden, they switch into the Seawall. And now they had played it because it's called Seawall because there's a battle that takes place between two replicants on the LA Seawall. And it's a really pivotal scene. It's a climactic scene in the movie. They play it there. But it's there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and even though it's driving the action, the sound, you don't get to hear it on its own. There's fighting, and you're paying attention. When I'm about to leave the theater and they switch into the soundtrack, playing Seawall, I had to stop. Now, Seawall is a 9-minute overture. I stood there after sitting there for 2 hours and 45 minutes, late at night, tired as hell, listening to Seawall. And I don't purchase soundtracks because I'm a cheap ass. And I got this whole digital thing. I purchased that Blade Runner soundtrack the next day. I listened to Seawall a lot.
You know what was another soundtrack I'm finding out? They put out the Werewolf by Night soundtrack last night. It's really good.
I was watching it, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it by itself.
Have you seen what did you think of Werewolf by Night? I know you said something
great. I thought that's the type of Marvel I love. That's the type of everything about it is great. The opening scene where you see the horror elements ripping through the Marvel logo was great. The fact that they did it in color so they could do as much blood as they want to was great. the fact that the actors and everybody that was in there, even though some of those characters were throwaway characters, I thought were great. I love the Man-Thing. That
Did that
character,
dude?
wow.
Did that black guy? Did that black guy have a Wakandan spear? Because it looked like at one point he had a Wakandan spear.
I'll have to go back and watch it again. I know somebody brought that up somewhere, and I was vaguely watching it in the background. I have to go back because I've only watched it the one time. I haven't had to do my breakdown of it yet, so I'm going to watch it again. I don't know, so I'll answer that later after we watch it. But I love that Werewolf by Night. I love the interaction between the werewolf, and
Man-Thing.
At the end there where he's got the little coffee cup for him. I liked all that. And the Man-Thing, if you've read him in the comics, one of the things I was worried about is the fact that I was wondering if they were going to be able to nail the human. Yes, he's the Man-Thing. Yes, he's this monstrous thing, but he's still a human under that, and he is a responsive human under that. He can talk, he can communicate with you, he can give you mannerisms, he can let you know how you feel. He can also be a fearsome thing, and you saw what he did. He's he did the Man-Thing thing, and
the Man-Thing thing.
At the same time, he cared about his buddy. He came back to rescue his buddy because his buddy was always going to rescue him. And then he even had the detail to where he's walking out. When he's asking, I'll say, "Hey, where's he at?" And she tells him, and he comes back and gets his jacket. He's like, he's going to need this. I just love the personality that they put in the brief time that character was on there. The corpse talking, that was creepy as shit, but I loved it. That hey, welcome. Like when Ulysses Bloodstone's corpse is talking, animated and talking to you. I'm like, that's some creepy shit. That's some creepy Destro stuff.
I'll be rotting for you.
He's like, I'm sorry, graveyard humor, and I'm like, I love that. So,
have you gotten a chance to see Hellraiser yet?
No, I'm going to watch that tonight when I get out of here.
Dude, okay. I have been a fan of horror since I was really young. Okay.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, very long time ago. And I saw the first Hellraiser movie in 90. I didn't see it in the theaters, but I saw the first Hellraiser movie in 90. And I've always loved that movie.
I told you I got a chance to meet him, right?
Oh, Doug Bradley? Yeah.
Yeah. Me and him have the same birthday.
Yeah, I met him at Texas Frightmare a few years back. But this movie, I watched it today, and it made me stop and think, which none of the other Hellraiser movies have ever done except for the first one. And it's like, wow. That's all I'm going to say. Wow. It's up there with the first one for me. So I think you'll enjoy it.
I've heard nothing but good things about him, which is, that's a tough, given the shoes it had to fill to me to hear mostly positive things about it already.
Jamie, God, I can't remember her last name, but the one that plays Pinhead. Oh, chills, man. Chills.
Yeah, and even Doug Bradley gave his endorsement of it.
Yeah, so there's 5 Cenobites in this movie. Okay. Not the usual 4, there's 5. Including the Hell Priest, which is Pinhead. And all of them are disturbing.
Oh, yeah, that better be.
But all of the leather aesthetic and stuff from the original movies is gone. And they're still creepy.
I saw that.
They're still creepy.
All right. Sorry. All right. So yeah, I'll have to watch that and give you my review on that one. Fourth 1000 on the Air Suicide Quad note. There are about 40 minutes of unseen footage and altered footage takes we have not seen. Believe Air said mostly from the intro. Like I said, if I'm running the show, if I'm running Warner Brothers Discovery, the only way I would go forward with the Air cut is if I'm going forward with the rest of the Justice League storyline. Because for me, from my point of view, the main reason was to introduce Jared Leto's Joker and to evolve him to the point that you see him in the Justice League. And if you see Zack Snyder's Justice League, you'll see what I mean. Going forward, you needed to have the basis of that character. And if there's more of that character and more of Harley Quinn and more of their relationship, that is the basis of what you would see further on. So if you're going to greenlight the haircut, then you might as well finish the Dark Side arc. Find some way to do it. Find some way to, who knows where they're going with this. Like I said, I don't want to get into head over my heels as far as like we'll ever get that storyline back again. All I can tell you is this: we were never, even if it never happens, we were 100% guaranteed of it never happening if we don't get Cavill back as Superman. So
True.
We're taking that step wherever it goes. I will take it one step at a time. But if my ultimate goal is to finish what they started and still at the same time move on, then the very first step could be on October 21st when Red S is up in the sky, and we'll go from there. And I think we can go from there in a positive light instead of the toxic stuff that we've had to deal with. We've kind of torn each other apart the last 4 or 5 years, and I think that we need to embrace victories and get over. All right, so are we finally getting a Man of Steel 2 movie? Because that's the kind of universe we're living in, where Ant-Man 2 has 2 movies. Yeah, Ant-Man 2 has different management, though, so yeah, that's the kind of universe we're living in. New management, though, I think I don't know if I had to guess. If I had to guess, I would guess yes, you're going to get a Superman movie because Zaslav seems to make the top dogs the top priorities, and Superman and Batman are the top dogs. So I can't imagine that he would even waste this kind of time and then not do a Superman solo movie. Now, does it mean that we're going to see another? I think what we should brace ourselves for is another movie with Superman in it prominently, but I don't know if it's going to be a man. I hope it's a Man of Steel 2. Be personally, actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I personally don't want to see another solo movie with Superman in it until the storyline that he was in the last time I saw him is resolved. Because Man of Steel got a sequel. It's Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
A solo movie isn't required to continue the story. All right. And there are people who say, well, he should have done a solo movie right after Man of Steel before he did it. No. We established Superman as a character, and for Zack Snyder's purpose, it was to bring in the Justice League as the basis of the DC Extended Universe and then go out from there. You don't do it like they do in Marvel because, like I said, the standard for DC is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then those eras, and then those orders, and so you don't really need to take 10 movies to get to that point. You don't really need another Superman solo movie. If you get a Superman solo movie, that's fine. But I would prefer that you finish what you started with Superman. He's as much a part of this Justice League. The Justice League is a Superman movie in most parts. It's about bringing him back to life.
Yeah.
He's the most powerful thing on there. He's the reason why his absence is the reason why they thought they could take Earth. And when you see him kick the crap out of Steppenwolf in no time flat, you know why.
Yeah.
So any movie that Superman is in and that stature, it's a Superman movie with other people around him. The Justice League, it's Superman. All right. If we get a Man of Steel 2, I'm okay with that. But if you held a gun to my head and asked me what I really want, I want the continuation of the storyline that was started in Man of Steel, that runs through BBS, that runs through Zack Snyder's Justice League, and should conclude somewhere. After we've done that, the journey should be complete with a Man of Steel sequel. But if I don't get a Man of Steel movie for 5 years, but in the interim we are finishing the stories that we started, which he is the most prominent part of, I'm okay with that.
Well, Stella told me the other day that in her opinion, if they had just let Zack finish his trilogy, we could have already moved past that by now.
Yeah. Once again, bad management. I'm trying to look forward, not backwards. Okay, Clint just messaged me and said the barbecue sauce is good. So, woohoo! I can put it on my top ramen. All right, so
I need the barbecue sauce to be good so I could put it on the ramen.
That's right, baby. Straight out of the bottle. All right, the Jumper. Nice to have you back. Will the fans come back for a repeat watch of Black Adam and Henry Cavill's in it for less than a minute? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And here's why. Same reason they went and saw the fucking stupid Let There Be Carnage that was not a great movie, that could have been a great movie, but they tore it apart just to present you that end credit scene because they didn't care. And then they leaked that out so that you'd come see it again. This is going to be a different case than that. It's actually going to be a better case than the Carnage thing. Once again, it is not just about Black Adam. It is about an entire outlook of what's going forward. Black Adam is going to be the beneficiary of it. But the bigger beneficiary in general is going to be DC movies in general and how we look at them going forward. There's going to be a different conversation being had that wasn't being had last year, that wasn't being had under the previous regime. And it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a positive one if we allow it to be. If we get caught up in the minutia, and if we get 75% of what we want and we get caught up in the 25% of what we're not getting, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot. If we allow this to be the victory that it is, I think we can allow ourselves to look at DC films from October 21st forward in a much more positive light than we've had. So, yeah, I do think based on that, people will go – when you breed that kind of atmosphere, people want to be part of it. People want to be part of a winning team. And if this is presented as a winning situation, then people want to be on board with that. All right? So my opinion is, yeah, I think people will come. And plus, hey, here's another thing that we haven't really even brought up that could be the case beyond anything. Black Adam might be a great movie. Black Adam might be a damn good movie, and we might be going to see it 2 or 3 times based on that as well. So if it's a good movie, it's a good, solid presentation, and we get a guy we haven't seen on a proper cinema screen in 5 years, who's a hot actor, who's the established Superman of this era, this generation, double whammy. All right, a good movie and a welcome home to something that that we've missed. I think we people in word of mouth, because I think Black Adam. I don't think the trailers have been great for Black Adam. That doesn't mean it's a great movie. I've seen movies that the trailer's been great and the movie's been crappy. So I mean, but there you go. All right. While I was let down by Junkie Sales score for Justice League, his theme for 300 Rising Empire, the Greeks are winning, is his best score ever. I wasn't as familiar with Junkie XL until Justice League, until people started having them on their shows and stuff like that. So I wasn't, like I said, I'm a Hans Zimmer guy, but call him Ted. Yeah. Hey, and that was a very important part of that scene. And it was cool that you remembered to call him, because once again, he's man thing, but there's a man, and the man is what drives the thing. And that was always the coolest thing. The only tolerable thing when I ever saw Howard the Duck on my pages of something I didn't throw away was when he was interacting with the man thing, because they had an interaction with them, where, the character, and he was a hard character to write because you had to use other characters around him to speak and tell his story for him. But, good people can do it. All right, Werewolf by Night has a first soundtrack score from Marvel. I like the music. The main characters walking into the arena was great. That arena, the cinematography for that arena, that garden, and that open garden thing, that was awesome. And it was even more awesome in black and white. And the fact that once they went black and white and you didn't see the red until the end, after all the dying had been and all the killing had been done, and that's when they let you colorize it. I thought that was cool too. So let's see. Like I said last night, Enosh is generally not on the streams that I'm on unless I'm on Poindexter Lounge. In the 7 months we've done this, Enosh has been on our streams maybe 3 times?
Yeah.
He was on the very first one because I didn't want to blow up the show. I requested him to be on that one. He popped in one just to screw with me when we were talking wrestling with Armando, just to mess around. And then he was on when we had the Comic-Con show, when we had Film Junkie. We had an all-star panel that night. We did 1,000 viewers. That was our most viewed show. He was on there for that one. But in general, Enosh is not on he's not on the Sci-Fi Center Presents. He's not on Sci-Fi Center Live on Friday, and he's generally not on this one. It's his network. If he wants to pop in, he's more than welcome. He can, but right now Enosh is busy. I don't know if you watched the streams earlier this morning when he was on. He's been there's been a lot of stuff going on with Enosh, his job, taking care of family, mentoring people, doing all that stuff. So he if you watch his stream early, he probably kind of explains why he's kind of been a little bit invisible lately. He's just got a lot to take care of. He's got a lot of life to be living, and like I said, he is looking at he'll be back, and after he's got to find is a happy balance. He said between the stuff he needs to get done and then streaming overnight, teaching, and all that kind of stuff. So we've been streaming a lot. We've actually been streaming more than him, just mainly because I'm at the point where I'm trying to get established. I'm trying to get used to these things. I'm trying to get used to new equipment. I'm trying to, each time we do a show, to fuck it up less the next time than I did the last time. So I need the airtime to get better. And plus I'm trying to establish not only what we're doing with this channel, but I also have my own YouTube channel where we'll be doing shorts, and we'll be doing 15-minute videos that are pre-recorded. And for the most part, we'll do some live streams over there and some film promotion over there. But for the most part, the live streams will happen over here. And so I'm just getting better at all that. I know I've had new intros and all that. So you'll see right now, you're going to see me a lot more than you see him, because like we were talking about yesterday, we generally stream 7 hours a weekend.
You and I pretty much take care of the weekend.
Yeah, we have the Friday night show, which is an hour. We have this show, which is 3 hours. We have Sci-Fi Center Presents tomorrow at 2, which is going to be around an hour. And then we have our Game of Thrones after show, which is about an hour and a half. So we're on the air. When Enoch was streaming at the height, he was streaming every day. He was streaming 6 days a week. But sometimes when everything's happening, family, all that, it's just not sustainable. And that was his purpose, is to bring on some of us so that we could take the load off of, so that there's somebody to view and watch when there's gaps in between when some of us couldn't be on. But I don't mind. I might, because I'm gonna even ask him, because there's certain nights where I got a lot of energy when I get home, and if you guys are willing to start a stream at 11 o'clock Pacific time, I'm willing to come on and run my mouth, because I think that what I'm trying to do is bring an element to the same topics that people are talking about, but in a different tone. There's certain things that you'll never see me do on this show. You will never see me talk about another. We're talking about Enoch as another YouTuber because this is his network and he's somebody we work with. But you'll never hear me talk about another YouTuber that's not on my screen, unless we are talking about a collaboration with them, like Trekyard. I mean, something like that. You'll never hear me talk negative about another YouTuber that's not on my screen. If I need to talk to that person, we'll do it offline. The word I have tried, and I think I've maintained this. I have not used the word until now, scooper or scoop, on this show ever. Even though it's not on the ban list, as a practice, I don't give a shit about scoopers. I'm sorry. As far as them being able to bring information to you, that's fine, and I may get some of that information. But as far as like what the culture has become, it's become a war. It's become a gotcha. It's become a not getting the information out. It's if I can get it out first, and who can I destroy along the way? I don't want to be part of that. And I know
it's become stupid, is what it's become.
Yeah, and I know it gets views, it gets clicks, and you know what? We average. Sometimes, I mean, the highest we've done is 1,100 views. And that was for the Comic-Con show. But our average show since we've been doing this has been about 300 to 400. Sometimes we hit 6, sometimes we hit 8 on the set. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with building a conversation the way I want it built. I don't need to attack. If I have a disagreement with somebody, we're not playing it out on YouTube. I don't get into Twitter wars. That's not what I use Twitter for. I said I use Twitter to spread news about my business, about what we're doing, and to project my brand. I don't use it to tag people. I don't block anybody. I haven't blocked anybody since I've been on Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2009. I haven't blocked anybody. I just don't have those conversations with people on Twitter. All right. So I try, and that's why I want to do more during the week, while he's not doing it. I want to jump on there because, like I said, I think there is a market, however small it is, for people who just want to have a casual conversation. My goal is any of these streams that we're on is to have the same conversation with you that I would have with people who walk through that door. And whether we don't always have to agree or like what each other likes, but I've seen just too much destruction in our community. And I'm just really trying to be disciplined about, not being a part of that. especially when it comes to interaction with other YouTubers. I'll take my little crumbs, my little 300 average views, and I'll be okay with that. And if it takes me 5, 6, 7 years to get up there, that's fine. I'm doing the same thing with you as I'm doing with my customers. So I don't have anything to lose. So you guys, when I talk to you guys, you get treated, pretty much the same way as somebody who walked into the Sci-Fi Center's front door. And that's the way I want to keep it. We don't stream other people's shows. I've seen people, and that's fine. If that's what they want to do, that's cool. I'm not knocking them for that. I just think there's enough of that, and I can't do that any better than they do. So
True.
I'm going to do what I'm really good at, and that's running my damn mouth about geekery. So while Enosh is taking care of some other things, I don't mind filling in a void and doing what I possibly can. I will never be able to draw what he draws because it's his network. I mean, this is his house. But I hope to contribute as much as I can. And
Well, I found that we have a bit of a draw too. Like some of these people that watch our shows, William, aren't on the main show. They don't watch the main show. They watch simply for you and me. So I mean, that's useful if nothing else.
That's cool. And like I said, we got a couple of regulars in here that we have every week. And like I said, I value their time. I value their decision to spend whatever time we spend together. So I'm happy to have you guys. I'm happy to have Vince, 4,000.
By the way, I want to say hi to a couple of people in the chat. Anthony Grigsby, hello, brother. How you doing? And Michelle, welcome tonight. And of course, welcome to everybody else. So
every time I'm sorry, Anthony, and I know this is horrible. Every time I see you, I think of that song. I think of Men at Work. I'm sorry. I just can't get that song.
I come from the land down under.
Women and men plunder. Can you hear that? Okay, we're gonna get demonetized. I'm sorry, and I'm horrible when it comes to Australians because he was on the stream one time and I kept asking him a bunch of questions. I'm like, how do you guys survive out there? I mean, it sounds like if you step out your house, fucking kangaroo's just gonna come by and just punch you and just keep going. Or
fucking roommate.
The funnel web spiders. I mean, and I know I've been watching too much Crocodile Hunter and all these guys who do these nature shows.
Look, a lot of those creatures out there, as long as you avoid them, they're not trying to kill you, actively. But still, man, wow.
Just
you've got spiders. You've got spiders in Australia that can bite through a leather boot. Yeah, okay.
That's a problem. And I know, Anthony, you told me that you live in the city and you don't see all that stuff, and we got to laugh out of it. But I got to get Steve Irwin out of my head. Let's see. All right, Michelle O'Rourke. Okay, so we're only a few weeks away from my birthday on the 31st. Oh, wow, Halloween, damn. That's pretty cool. My husband gets to celebrate both Halloween and my birthday in the same night, and he's taking me to a costume party for my birthday. What are you going to be? I'm curious, Michelle.
She says she's going to be Jinx from Arcane.
Okay. Not as familiar with that character, but I know I'm the only one. You're welcome. I'm the only one that probably doesn't know. I'm hoping I can pull the character off. All right, me too. All right. Okay, so she's talking to Vince. All right. William and Thade, if you no. Okay. If I come to Australia, I'm hiding behind you. I'm not going where any place you say don't go, we're not going. Wherever you step, I'm stepping right behind you.
No, he said he's gonna take us around to some chicken places to eat or something.
Oh, okay.
He's going to take us to get food. He did say later on.
He's taking us to be food. I'm like, dude, I have nightmares about being dragged under something in Australia. I mean, everything that can kill you. It's like Florida. I'm not going to Florida.
There's things in Florida that are trying to kill you.
The gators are just rolling. They're just rolling on the golf cart. I mean, not little gators. Big gators are just on the golf cart, just chilling. I'm like, what? And you animal control? Oh, no. It's called get on the airplane and get out of the swamp. All right, some nice places around, grilled chicken and corn. All right, yeah. So yeah, as long as we're not on the menu, I'm good. And now you're making me hungry. I'm like, yeah, I am hungry. Yeah, but we got the barbecue sauce here. I should drink the barbecue sauce on there. Yeah, I'm getting hungry. So yeah, let's see. All right, Patrick Childs. Yeah, those people who want Zach to come. You know what? Like I said, I'm not going to forecast whether we ever see Zack Snyder again in the DC universe. I mean, there's a certain time I thought he would. I think that if you know what, if I had to put my chips on the table, with Alan Horn being on the table, with who knows. Everybody says this person will never do this person will never do that. Only a dummy says never. Only a dummy paints themselves into a corner they can never get out of. Only a dummy burns bridges. And I don't know if any of these people are dummies. Alan Horn is not a dummy. Zaslav's not a dummy. Zack Snyder's not a dummy. If there's business to be done, even though fanboys may not think there's business to be done, there's a reason why we are fans and we're not running the show. So there's nothing saying that he's coming back, and there's nothing saying that he's happy at Netflix. You know what? Ridley Scott did at 82 did multiple movies and during the year and flew all over the world making all kinds of movies. And he's 30 years older than Zack Snyder, and he had a packed schedule. People can walk and chew gum at the same time. When you make millions and when you are an expert at your craft and you're one of the best people and you have an entire staff to do things for you, you can do multiple things in the year. In an 8-month period, you could be shooting at 2 different sound stages. All right. If you want to say, hey, we're going to go take a 6-month trip and we're going to live in London, guess what I can be? I can be filming 2 movies. So he could be filming Rebel Moon 2, 3, 4, and 5 and stagger those schedules and do anything he wants. And the Netflix thing is a first look deal. That A, it's not going to last forever. B, it's a first look deal based on IPs that aren't pre-owned. There could never be a first look deal with DC without DC approving of it, because if you wanted to do those characters, DC would have to permit Netflix to even get that first look. If DC develops an IP and says, Zack Snyder, we would like you to do, there's Netflix can't, they don't own that IP. Now, Rebel Moon, things like that, if he comes up with his own IPs, then they get first look beyond that. But for a pre-existing IP that they can't license without their permission to begin with, he could do DC if he wanted to. I don't know what's going to happen. I would like to see him finish what he started or be as much part of what he started and move on from that. I don't need Zack Snyder for 35 movies. All I've ever wanted was a resolution to what I was bought into. When I was sold the DC Extended Universe, I want what you originally sold me. You can't give me half the steak and then keep bringing me baloney. And then when I say, you know what, I paid for a whole steak, I bought in for a whole steak dinner, you just gave me half a steak, and you continue to bring me everything but the steak I ordered. Finish what you started. So much credibility to be gained. DC and Zaslav and whoever's running the show going forward will gain so much credibility. This Henry Cavill thing is as much part of finishing what you started than anything, because we never got any resolution to Superman at all. So does that come back to finish what he started? Do I need him to be a part of every single DC movie? No. Give me the 1 or 2 that he never got to do, and then move on from there. And like I said, there's nothing saying he's coming back, but there's nothing. You hear a lot of people say, well, Zack will never come back. None of these people are very few of these. You got some of the people that I know that actually talk to Zack Snyder and know him. But most of the 99.9% of the people who say Zack will never do this or that don't know jack shit from one thing or the other. They're assuming stuff. But once again,
they don't know Zack is the thing.
Yeah. Fanboy.
I think too many people today.
Fanboy assumptions don't mean shit. All right. I repeat, fanboy assumptions don't mean shit. That includes me. We are fans. Our job is to consume. Our job, we don't sign deals. We don't interview people. We don't hire anybody. So fanboys' assumptions that Zack Snyder will never do DC, one way or another, fanboys' assumptions that he'll be back tomorrow don't mean shit. If you're not signing a name on a check or paying for anything or hiring anybody, all we can do is guess. So nobody knows. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, unless you're given an inside track. But see, my biggest problem with fandom right now, besides the general, I don't even want to get started on that, but my biggest problem with fandom right now is the scoopers. None of these scoopers know anything. Okay. They can sit there and gaslight you and blow smoke up your ass that they know things. None of them know anything. Not for certain. I have sat here and made more claims about stuff that has come true than most of these scoopers have. And I just do process of elimination and things that make logical sense.
And that's why
Okay.
some of these guys, they do have their sources. But here's the thing. Nobody's 100%. Even the best scooper doesn't have it all 100%. And it has just become a culture. There are some people out there that I know that have some people that they talk to and they get legitimate stuff. But at the same time, it's the environment now that it's
Well,
like
William,
get it first and get it right.
I'm gonna be right up front and up front about it. I have people I could talk to get information.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell people where. I'm not going to share my sources, but I have people I can talk to. The thing is even if you have a legitimate source, sometimes that information changes.
Exactly.
So I could tell you something about a movie that's coming out a year from now, and 6 months from now, something changes, and then my scoop doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So, and that's called evolution of information. Let me finish this real quick because this is part of his own is kind of back and have a hand in everything DC said. That I will agree with you with. I will agree with you 100% with that because I never thought that was necessary. B, I don't think it's going to happen simply because of I don't think that was ever his goal. I don't think it was ever necessary. And I think, but what ends up happening is because what he was pulled from what he was doing, and we never got a resolution, that sentiment built up and got exaggerated. He was never going to do that many movies. He said 5 movies or so, and then he would be executive producing and doing some other stuff outside of that. But he had a beginning, middle, and an end to what he was doing. And it was up to people like James Wan, Patty Jenkins, and Machetes. All these other guys were developing characters. Remember, Aquaman was being written alongside of what he was doing with BVS and Justice. Remember, they all were in the casting process together. So it was. I mean, you are right, 100% right about that. Is if you. Oh, wow, hiccups. Damn Mountain Dew. If you are looking for Zach to come back and just be, I think people he should run the DC or Devin Snyder runs feet. I don't think they want to. I think they want to tell their story and then move on. But and I'll be happy with that. And like I said, I don't know them from Adam, but it is not necessary that they have their hands in everything. I don't think they want to. I don't think it's needed. And yeah, you're 100%. I hope people don't. I hope they don't turn Cavill's appearance into driving people into the ground. What would restore the Snyderverse? Take the baby step. Take the victory. Understand what a victory is, and wait for the next victory. And if you take it with that approach, I think we'll get. You'll find yourself in a better spot. Do not wind yourself and chase your tail. And this is coming from a guy who wants the story that he started finished. But if you gave me that, if somebody comes along and sits down with Zack Snyder and says, you know what, Zack, I know you're working on this. You're not coming back to DC. What were you thinking about doing? What was your what were you going to go with that? And you know what? We'll give you an executive producer credit. You ain't got to be there. You tell me, you write the story. Give me what you think you're going to do. We're going to look at it and be like, hey, this is great. And we'll take it and we'll go with it. And you'll get an executive producer credit. All right. I'm okay. There's a lot of people like it has to be Zack Snyder. No, I want a resolution to the story, and that's why I've always fought against restore the Snyderverse. I've gone against resolve the Snyderverse because I understood that he had a beginning, middle, and an end to whatever he was doing. That it wasn't designed to last forever. So yeah, I agree with you there, Patrick. I believe back out. So do I. I thought it was put in a bad position of being the one carrying all the weight for DC's movies. You're talking about a derivative character that is not a mainline character. Yes, Dwayne Johnson is a mainline actor, but that he can only do so much. And people are like, well, it's all Dwayne. Dwayne keeps self-promoting himself, self-promoting this. We always see as Dwayne Rod Johnson. You know what? He's doing what he has to do because the previous regime, and people don't like to hear this, but when you start these advertising campaigns and things, they're done months in advance. The ball for advertising Black Adam was set in motion before Zaslav came into the company. And it has to be done that way because you have everything that is happening in October has to be planned out, paid for, people hired. Let me show you something real quick. Because I'm going to give you guys an idea of what an advertising campaign kind of looks like. So sorry, I'm off screen for a second. So right now, we're in the middle of this is Halloween's ends. All right. We're in the middle of we just did a big promotion today. We gave away these big giant posters. We gave away buttons. There's Michael Myers. We had 2 different posters, one with his mask on there, and one with him and Jamie Lee Curtis on there. And we also gave away T-shirts and stuff. See that? All right. This stuff that I have here now was designed. The distribution was signed onto. It was approved of. It was paid for. The artist rendering was paid for in like January or February. All right. So once you get to, a couple months before the movie comes out and you start doing trailers and all that, even the trailers, you hire a trailer company to do the things. They're picking out things of the trailer before the movie's even in lock. These are things that are happening months and months and months in advance, sometimes 8 to 9 months in advance of a movie being released. So all that took place before Zaslav even got there. Another thing that's a big uphill battle that they had to fight is that it's Black Adam. Now, the previous regime would have more than likely not greenlit a Black Adam movie without having a Superman movie already in the atmosphere or already done or something like that. Main characters, they would have never depended on Black Adam to be the savior and the home run hitter that people are trying to expect it to be now. It would have never had the weight of being, if this movie's not successful, this means the end of it. No. He's a Z character played by a A-lister. That was never going to get you that. Now, where they have come in, and what they can change is they can change the content of some of the content of the movie. Adding an end credit scene with Cavill, if they have indeed done that, changes the narrative of the entire movie. But as far as how Black Adam has been brought up, I think Black Adam was a $600 million movie max. All right. And to be honest with you, that's not a lot of people it's not $1 billion because we have that boneheaded bullshit $1 billion standard in our head when most movies don't make that. It's a rarity. Even with Marvel, you look at all the movies that they release, the Thor movie, you have movies that don't make $1 billion. That's not a threshold. That is not a reasonable threshold to put on your movies all the time. You want to make your profit and you want to make 3 times or whatever much as that goes. All right. So Black Adam would have come out and made that just based on what Dwayne The Rock Johnson's movies do in general, because nobody really is going to know. I got people that come in the store that didn't even know who Black Adam was. They know now, and that's fine. But that was what the movie. So you greenlit a movie with a Z-list character. So the success right there was going to be kind of contextualized right there and then. Now, so a lot of the decision making was inherited. They're doing what they can. I think the delays to add things to it, the delays to try to fill out the universe, that's what they can do. But a lot of the stuff with this advertising and these things, these cardboard stand, all these things, these are all put into place months and months. They don't just wait. Hey, Black Adam's coming out in October. It's June. Let's start working on that. No, because all these people that put all this stuff together are doing stuff for other studios and doing other things for that exact studio that they're working on. And if you notice now, it's a small group of people. All these film communities aren't these large. It's not a warehouse full of thousands of people just working on stuff. It's generally the same guy or same group of people that are working on a lot of this stuff. And especially during the COVID era where you downsize even from that. So these ad campaigns start months and months in advance, and they didn't really do a good job. All right, the guys, the people that handed it off to the guy who's running it now, I don't think did a good job. I don't think they did a good job educating you on the Justice Society, which is, to me, very important since they're in the movie. All right, I don't think they did a good job educating you on or using all their apparatuses. And I'm not talking about now because they're doing it now, but I'm talking about 6-7 months ago when we should have been being primed for Black Adam. But once again, it all stems from the decision to even make Black Adam anyway, because you don't have any other movies to propel it. When you see the talking raccoon, you don't need to know if that's a ridiculous concept. You know what the commercial is for the talking raccoon and his wooden sidekick? The previous 25 movies that have been released. With DC, you don't have that. We just talked about a gap of their main guys 5 years without having Superman on the screen. And now you're going to give me, the general fan's going to see a guy with something on his chest flying through the air. Where's Superman? So it's going to be successful for what it is. But now with the addition of with the alpha in there, maybe you're talking about, you know, a $650 million movie going possibly 700 or 800, maybe. But once again, if it makes between 6 and 8, and you're talking about a Z-lister, crack the champagne and move on. Move on, because you had to deal with situations as a new company that you did not have 100% control over. You didn't greenlight this movie. You didn't get the ad campaign going off. That was someone else. You took over for a car that was moving. You literally pushed the driver out of the car and tried to take the wheel while the car's still moving. All right. So I think they can look at Black Adam as a success no matter what. Now, their next movies, which is all going to be WBD, now I think they're going to be looking for a different standard. They might be looking for something a little bit more, and I think that's why you bring in Superman. That's why you bring in the mainline characters. So we're in a different position. We're like I said, they were able to cut away some things that they didn't want because of where they were at in production and where they could write them off on. But Black Adam was one that, you know, you got a deal. You got Dwayne Johnson. You want to keep Dwayne Johnson in your stable for as long as he looks like that. So you're not cutting Black Adam. So, but you delayed it a little bit. You did all this other stuff. But, you know, I think Black Adam is going to be a success. What we define as success is going to be all dependent on, A, how good the movie is, and B, if Cavill's in it. If it's a good movie and Cavill's in it, I'm guessing around maybe 700. What are you guessing, Thade?
700, 750, something like that.
That's good money. That's good money. All right. Hopefully it will be the only thing I don't like about The Rock. It seems to play the same kind of. I hear that a lot, but you know what makes The Rock money? Doing exactly what you said in there. Sometimes you got something that works. It's really hard to tell. I don't want him coming out and trying to do Shakespeare. He is what he is, you know. And right now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him not having an Egyptian accent and not pointed ears and all that, because you know why? I'm giving him characteristics that are relatable to a character that nobody knows who the hell he is. So there you go. Okay, when I first watched G.I. Joe and the Fast, yeah, like I said, yeah, G.I. Joe was bad. Yeah, you know what though? Like once again, I agree with you to a certain extent, but you know it's working. You don't want to take that car part out if it keeps the car running, you know? Yeah, true, Michelle. I think you're really trying to make the film a success. Yeah, and another thing is he shouldn't have had to do that. These companies have divisions filled with people, even in COVID era, that their job, they make 6 figures a year no matter what. Their job is to promote these movies. Their job is to get the word out there. Their job is to get the buzz out there months and months and months ahead of a movie. The fact that The Rock is in the forefront doing this, that's what the previous regime did. That's how they marketed things. You're starting to see the marketing ramp up as the movie gets older. But I always say, if you're waiting, once you get inside of 6 months, and you haven't done a main push or started at least a main push or something that looks like a main push, I start getting worried because I've seen a lot of movies, really, really good movies, fail because they did not market them right. Blade Runner they did not market Blade Runner 2049 right. They did not give you a reason to see that movie. And they did not explain enough of that movie and in the months leading into that movie to compel you to see this movie. And Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think there's certain days I wake up and it's my favorite movie of all time. And that movie did not do well at the box office. It ends up becoming a cult hit, and people now respect it for what it was. But that doesn't do the people who financed it any good. They got to get their money on the back end now, and they just have to be happy with those 2 Academy Awards it won. So
Yeah.
if you don't market a movie, it's not just about doing good marketing. It's when you start the campaign. And I think they started the campaign with Black Adam way, way too late. So, but once again, a unique situation because you have a merger. So, you know, you can't really judge them on this one. Like I said, I think people that are looking for Black Adam to pull in $1 billion, I think that's ridiculous. If it does, great. Is there a chance it could do it? Yes. The odds are no, because you're talking about a character that people don't gravitate to, you know, and it's even Superman coming up. didn't pull. And the Batman, did not pull in $1 billion. It pulled in really good money, and it was successful. So I think if we're going to judge the success of any of these movies going forward, get that $1 billion standard out of your head. It is the dumbest fucking standard out there. Okay, so but yeah, The Rock has had to put the movie on his back, and that's because he didn't have a marketing campaign behind him. Yeah, we'll be here for it. Oh, I'm definitely going to be here for it. I am going to be here to take part in a very positive conversation. All the people who've been so miserable the last 5 years, I get to see happiness on their faces, you know? All right, Michelle. Thank you, Anthony. Where are you from, Michelle?
She's from Galway, Ireland.
Oh, okay. Oh, I mean, she has one of those cool accents. We got to have her on the show. We have all the people with cool accents. Where's what's that one girl? Aparo with her. She's from Brazil. Oh man, I love accents. Sorry.
Yeah, see, I lost like I said, I grew up in England, and I lost a lot of my accent when I came back here and finished school. But every once in a while, I drop my American accent and end up having still my British accent. So.
Oh, so you're an American. Okay, my family came to America. Okay, so yeah, she's been here.
Yeah, I came back here. I came back here when I was 12, but I've been here for 30 plus years. So.
Okay, I want to be on the stream when my husband starts our channel. Oh, cool. Hey, let me know when you start your channel. Hey, as you can clearly see, anybody can do it to certain varying degrees, but if I haven't blown up the show yet, that should give you confidence that you should be able to do it.
William.
Let's see, but I'm scared of having to deal with our kids and streaming. Hey, listen, I'm dealing with blast and motorcycles rolling by with their music blasting. I mean, with a couple of kids and a dog, you know, have put them on the stream. Okay. Oh, cool. You're about to, that's right. I remember you on Enosh's stream talking about your child and the health of your child. Yes, it is geekery. It is definitely geekery. I'm going to trademark that. There you go. Hey, dude, you're going to sing that song when we get you on here. Fade we'll sing background and chorus, and we'll lose viewers in the heartbeat. Let's see.
No, you won't, because I sing pretty good karaoke. Damn it.
Okay, well, that's never happening. William, I'll tell you, the kangaroos sometimes venture into the servers, but they are wild when confronted. Yeah, can't they punch you and kill you with one punch?
Kangaroo are violent, yes, and they can hurt you badly.
I've seen them, and they got those muscles. They got like, I thought it was somebody photoshopping. This one kangaroo looked like he was like pumping iron. I'm like, you get hit by that, you're dead.
Yeah,
by that. And one guy there was a baby kangaroo, and he was feeding the kangaroo, and it just up and kicks him right in the nads. I'm like, dude, your nads are gone. Those things hop across the continent. You realize how much musculature you have to jump and do that what they do, and that's aimed towards your nads right now. Oh man! But if one of them punches you, I was like that cartoon, the Bugs Bunny cartoon, where what's his face was always, he thought it was a mouse because he was stupid, and it had a fucking kangaroo that came out with boxing gloves, which is ridiculous. He punched the shit out of him, and then when I saw the Lauren Green or whatever I was watching as a kid, and they were trying to wrangle this wild one that had gotten into the city, and they had to call control. He was fighting. He's like, I'm not going back. He hit one of them and then knocked the guy out. I'm like, whoa. And then they tell you the punching power of a kangaroo could really end you. But you see people petting him, and I'm like, no. William and wild animals we don't mix. No.
The animal that has the greatest punching power, though, is one of the tiniest animals in the world. It's a shrimp. There's a shrimp that hits with the like several levels of kinetic force. It like kills fish when it punches them.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
literally when this I can't remember what shrimp it is, but literally when this shrimp punches, it heats up the water around its punch. Like it's moving that fast with a punch. And they say that if it was to scale with a human, it could kill you with a punch.
That's like daddy long legs. If it's things that bite through you, it has more poison than anything else. All right, Black Star Afro, welcome back. It's been a long time. I love your avatar, by the way. Comic Book Cadet or 2 is reporting that The Rock is now in charge and full creative control of DCEU. That he's the biggest star of the franchise, so he wants to do Justice League for his Black Adam. Listen, I don't know how true that is. The Rock is a producer, but you're really going to need somebody who knows the nuts and bolts of bigger Hollywood. He's in charge of 7, but here's the thing, though. As much as I say that, if his movie comes out and say the Black Adam comes out, it's done well, it achieves that. It makes the money that it needs to make. We don't need $1 billion, but it makes the money that it needs to make. It gets people talking about the DCEU in a positive light. Now, I'm not going to say he needs to be the head honcho. He needs to be at the table with the head honcho. He needs to be in the conversation with the head honcho. He needs to have some significant influence with the head honcho because he will have done something that none of his predecessors have done. As much as people want to malign and minimize what The Rock is and does, if he accomplishes those things that I just pointed out, he will accomplish something that his predecessors could not do. And forget what you want to say about him, he deserves the time of day. Now, I'm not saying he necessarily deserves to be the head honcho of anything and the head of creative of anything, but his words and what his opinions and what his thoughts should carry a lot of weight because he will have done what we have been waiting for a long time. This guy comes in his second movie because Shazam was his first with DC, and he's done something that the previous regime and current regime couldn't do. So, hey, you know what? Like I said, I would rather have a filmmaker, unknown guy who just basically runs the business of things and corrals filmmakers together and gets them to do what he needs to do. But I think Dwayne Rock Johnson needs to be in that conversation, not necessarily at the head of the table, but he needs to be right somewhere near. I need to be able to hear his voice from the table. He should be close enough that when he talks, we say, "Okay, what do you got to say, Dwayne?" So
there's a vote.
If all this comes to pass,
there's a vote in the chat for you to be the next head of Warner Brothers of DC Films.
I'm too stupid, but thank you. I can barely run the Sci-Fi Center in these streams. But like I said, and the difference between me and The Rock is doing it. If he makes decent money with a B/Z list character, that's accomplishment number one. He's bringing us back, if he's there, bringing us back a mainline character we haven't seen in 5 years, which means that character's been mismanaged for 5 years. All right, and he's going to get us talking. With the conversations that we've had the last 5 to 7 years with DC have been miserable. People have created entire streams and industries about being miserable. He changes that conversation. He should definitely be at arm's length. I would still like a Robinov or somebody who has produced multiple movies and done things like that to be able to set a narrative. And guess what? If The Rock is the co-pilot, the entertainment side of it, and we have the executive side of it, and they can work something out, I think The Rock should be in the conversation. I want a nuts and bolts executive, though. I want a filmmaker because it is a business, and I think if you're the actor and you're the director, the universe may get a little bit bigger, and you may need somebody. You need oversight. You need an oversight guy that can go write his ass off, and you need a studio head. And The Rock has never ran a studio. He's run a production company, but he's never ran a studio. But he should be in that conversation. He should be in that tight inner circle. So that's a really good point to bring up. See. Yeah, that's all I want to see him finish what he started. I've always been ready for the DCEU to move on beyond Zack Snyder because I always think that it'll always have his fingerprints on it. We could be talking as long as we have these characters around and these movies are decent and successful. Even this movie that we're talking about now, Black Adam. Black Adam exists in the universe Zack Snyder created. That we're talking in large part about a character that might show up at the end of the credits that he created to get this universe started. So, but I think as long as they have not finished that story, people will always, rightfully so, doubt DCEU's ability to finish anything. Until you finish the one major thing that you started, we're always going to doubt whether we should give you our money or not. So I think the credibility there should be. I think they should do it just for credibility's sake. No, which means Black Adam is a stand-up. Nah, I think at The Rock, be honest with you, at age 50, even though he could physically probably do this forever, I think The Rock has higher goals. I think The Rock wants to work less harder because he's got 2 little girls that he wants to be around. This takes a lot out of you, and I always get the feeling that he's always been a brilliant businessman, and as far as his own franchises and his own things that he wants to. I think as he gets older, he wants to turn things over. He wants to get bigger, but I don't think he needs to be the main part of it. I don't think he would need to be a Thanos or anything like that. I be honest with you. I see him as being head of much larger things than using Black Adam to be. Even though he says a hierarchy of DC is changing, that's just wrestle. That's Superman versus Black Adam. And to be honest with you, one of the biggest stars, the action stars out there facing the biggest IP that you have, one of the biggest IPs you have, that's money. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. That's good. That's business. All right. So, yeah, we're good with there. Big Rich, I love your avatar. They already bought back Lex Luthor and Cheetah and Deathstroke. Would it be cool if they just finished Legion of Doom? My opinion, no. Because that wasn't the major story arc that you began. Those are storylines those are fallback storylines that they tried to bring up when they didn't want to address the elephant in the room. Bringing an Apocalypse in, if they would have started with the Legion of Doom, and that would have been what they started with, yeah, that is not the story that they started with. They started Man of Steel, and then right as you go out into Batman versus Superman, we got parademons, we got the anti, we got all these we got the vision of Barry coming back from we have Steppenwolf, who should have never been the main villain anyway. But if you saw Steppenwolf, you know who's coming. You know what seeing Steppenwolf means. So it has always been a dark side story arc. I would like to see them finish that first because that is what they started. That was the groundwork that he set. That battle, everything. Now, Legion of Doom, that is material that you could use for any other movie beyond that. You could use the Legion of Doom for a lot of. You could use Deathstroke in a Batman solo movie. We've already seen Cheetah, but I would not. I don't know if seeing those as a group really needs to happen. But that's my opinion. No wrong answer to this question, but my opinion is finish the Dark Side arc because you left us hanging with that, and it was a really. Once I saw the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that Joker and that last scene, and those scenes where Darkseid has come to Earth, I need to see the end of that. All right, I think Dak said in an interview that he wanted to finish his 3rd movie of the 300 franchise. Okay, but if I'm running WBD and I have a conversation with Zack Snyder, I'm like, okay, we'll give you that, but you got to give me this. We'll give you that. We'll give you free reign on your 3rd and final 300 movie, but we need you to finish this, or at least executive produce it, pick some people for us that you would like to see so that we have some consistency and continuity with what you started, but then again, if he just comes back and does 300, hey, he's back with Warner Brothers. That's a first step. Zack Snyder coming back and directing the 7 fucking Dorbs. There's a victory in there that he's back with Warner Brothers. You have, like I said, you cannot get what you ultimately want until you take that first step. So I would take either or. All right. Awesome. He's saying awesome to somebody. The studio is losing money on Black Adam because The Rock is paying himself a huge back end bonuses. That's not losing money though. His bonuses it's his production company. He's producing it. He's putting up some of the money for it. It's not all Warner Brothers' money, and this movie is being financed. And remember, when Warner Brothers bought, when they purchased WB, they assumed all of their debt. So any of the money that was in debt, as far as it being having to pay people back, financials, all that back, or pay whatever he's owed, that was pretty much taken care of. So since it's an inherited loss, they were allowed to inherit that loss. That's why they were allowed to write off background, things like that. They have decided to go forward with this movie. But a lot of the things that are owed on a movie, so when you make a movie, for the most part, the way I understand it, it's finance. It's not Warner Brothers money. It's finance with interest. But since that's basically a debt, I'm pretty sure that debt was assumed by WB already as a whole. So they're really not losing any money on it, because you make ancillary money after that. You make money off of, when once it's done running, you can put it on HBO Max if you want to, which helps your subscribers. You can sell it to another subscription service, which is their right to do. But the main way that they're going to make their money back, and if you watch TBS or TNT long enough, you'll see this, is, man, every time I turn the channel, they got a movie playing. And a lot of times it's Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam was on. I mean, and what happens when you show a movie on stations like that? Ad revenue. I know, because I bought ad revenue on some of these movies, and it ain't cheap, because what you do is you get a block of time, and they tantalize you with saying, we're going to be showing Man of Steel here, and your demographic is there, and the male demographic is there. So we pay up the ass, right? But here's the thing. It's all profit for them, because guess what? They're showing it during AEW Wrestling on a network they own. They're showing it on TNT or TBS on a network they own. They're showing commercials and stuff for it on CNN on a network they own. And then when you go into physical media, so they'll make their money on it. I mean, even if The Rock has a decent bonus, if you make $700 million off of a movie you inherited, and then you can make money on the back end. Remember, there's merchandising deals, and they get the majority of the merchandising deals. And if the movie is successful, you get a lot of added on content. You get deals and licensing deals with other people. That all goes to the studio. That all goes to the investors. So I don't think they're going to lose money on it. The only way you lose money on it is if you don't make your production budget. So this movie cost $200 million. I'm going to safe to say that it's going to draw $200 million. I'm pretty safe that it's going to draw $200 million. So now that you've covered your production budget and your advertising budget, so if it made less than $400 million, now you're talking about where bonuses and things like that will probably hurt the bottom line, because you're breaking even. And whenever you break even on a movie, that hurts you a little bit, because remember, the borrowed money had interest. Even though if you paid off the debt, the value of your dollar has gone down. So if it makes, like what I think it's going to make, between 650 and 700, 750 and up, nobody's going to lose money. Now, there may be better situations to where they can make more money, but that'll happen from productions that Warner Brothers Discovery starts on their own, because they're going to set up the financing that they want. They're going to set up the deals that they want. They're going to set up the licensing deals under Zaslav and all this. A lot of the stuff that you have now, like I said before, is already in place under a different regime. Any bonus that The Rock was going to get, or anybody else was going to get, was already baked into the contract that they inherited. So if there was a Black Adam 2 or the next Superman movie, those things are going to be done under the purview of a new management, and they're going to determine what their profit margin is. Right now, I just don't think there's a losing proposition for them right now. A, they inherited this movie. And B, if it does well, sometimes a movie can break even and propel you to another. John Wick movies don't. I mean, they only cost less than $90 million to make for the most part, and some of them make $300 million. After advertising and all that. I mean, if the money you make propels you to make more money, and you can just cut your cost, I think Black Adam's going to do fine. I think, and once you add Cavill to it, I think it's going to do great. All right, seems like WD is always finding themselves in a unique situation. Yeah, you're right. But listen, I've been through them all. I've been through all the situations. AT&T, AOL, which was a fucking disaster. You can blame the death of WCW on those clowns. But out of all the situations, I'd never heard and seen the decisive direction that I've seen from this guy in the 4 months that he's been head of the company. I've seen a bunch of wishy-washy, cold feet, spineless, self-dealing, things like that in the previous guys. I hear what this guy's saying, and I see what he's willing to do, and I know the situation that he inherited. I got a little bit more hope of this unique situation than I've had in the previous one. So that's where I'm at. I agree. $1 billion a bust mentality to get to go, but studios unfortunately are about they're about the bottom line. But here's the thing, Daniel, you do not have to you don't have to make $1 billion to meet your bottom line. You just have to control your cost. For like, okay, so if a movie makes 400, the Spider-Verse movie, it made about $400 million on a $90 million budget. All right, that's good. People who make those kind of margins get promoted. A $700 million movie on a $150 million budget, that's good. You keep your job with those numbers. 300 million dollars, $400 million, and then you make 500 million. Or if you spend 200, you spend 185 million like in Blade Runner, and you only make 268. That's a problem. But even at that point, Blade Runner, they don't regret making that movie because studios love Oscars because they can slap that shit on the top of everything that they sell. When they're sitting down negotiating their movies and their revenue deals with everybody else, they got those damn statues in the background. They're in an office with all these, just like I have Darth Vader and Aquaman here. They got Academy Awards, and that is big. Those are career makers for certain people. That's why they're so huge. That's why a lot of the movies that you see win Academy Awards lose money or don't make very much money at all. But once they win that Academy Award, they get a second life. You see movies like, that didn't make a lot of money, get put back into the theaters. People didn't even know they existed until Oscar night. So, but the bottom line is, okay, so what's the cost of Black Adam? Let's see. What's the did they ever release the projection price of Black Adam paid?
Let me go look.
Let me see if I can find. If you find it before me, tell me, because then I can tell you basically what it would need to make. Adam 2022 film.
I got get hold on.
Oh, okay. Oh, 124 minutes running time. This is gonna be fun. Doesn't tell me.
It says between 185 and 200 million.
All right, so 200 million. So if we get a let's say 650. So your first 200 covers your production costs, and then you may have, this movie will probably have a decent ad budget. Let's throw in another 150 million. So now you're at let's say 300 million or so, right? So 300 million, and you make 650. So you made 350 million profit. That means that production budget part of that might be his pay and bonus. We don't know because I don't know what the contracts look like, but he gets a percentage of it. So now if we go upwards for 350 million in profit, and we say it's a $700 million movie, let's say it with Cavill in it does about 800 million total global. At 200, you've made a $500 million profit for a movie you inherited and had no control over the original costs and deals on. I'm going to take that as a win. That's if those numbers hold. We'll have to see. So that's what your bottom line is on that one. So, all right. So it's the kangaroo's claws you need to worry about. They're like saber tooth. Hey, listen, dude. If I get close enough to where those claws matter, I'm in trouble anyway. I'm probably about to die. Unless Anthony Grigsby is there to save me. Or Anthony, sorry, if we're in Australia and something fearsome comes towards me, probably going to push you in the way and run. Sorry, man. Because you're better equipped to deal with the horrors of Australia than I will ever be. I'll probably get killed by something else running away from you.
There's a meme that's got this little monkey thing with fangs. It's about 3 inches tall and it's sitting in somebody's hand. And it says, yeah, he's from Australia and he wants to kill you too, but he just can't because he's too small.
Yeah, everything in Australia wants to kill you. Listen, dude, I got some good ideas. I never ran a studio. I don't know the relations. A lot of it is relations and a lot of conversations. I mean, if I'm not, I mean, it would probably take somebody far more talented, far more skilled than me. But I am telling you what I'm seeing from a consumer, and I've never ran a studio, but I've been a customer. We've all been customers, and I think we've seen enough of these movies to understand now what's lacking when we walk out of the theater. We may not know the mechanics of it. We may not be in the movies, but I know when a movie's not good, and I know when something is missing from a movie or from a universe. I know the DCEU has not been as good as it possibly could be because we've had a regime that danced around the main characters because they screwed with the original created of those characters, and they never wanted to go back to those characters again, or they never thought that they could. I know that. I can tell you how to fix that. I think we all could. It's up to the executives now to clear through the clutter of people calling people who want a particular thing cultists or bullies and all that. The difference between a YouTuber and a guy who runs his trap on Twitter, calling fans whatever he wants to call them, is that the executive has the opportunity to see a fan for what a fan really is, and that's a customer. A YouTuber can make fun of us and call us bros, bots, and everything else. That YouTuber, in comparison to a studio head, is a nobody as far as getting a movie made. I'm a nobody. As far as getting a movie made and running a film division, a YouTuber, a Twitter, a Facebooker, a TikToker is a equivalent nobody to that process as far as the executive level goes. So them calling people names and creating divisive content and doing all that stuff, that has to mean nothing to David Zaslav. David Zaslav needs to look at all of us, no matter what we prefer our content to be, as customers, as potential customers. And I think for the first time since the turn of the decade, the previous decade, 2010s, we've had somebody that has his ear to the customer that can balance the executive trade as well. But he has another ear that lives in cut. When people say that, Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson was bullied into taking whatever out. You know what? Dwayne Johnson and everybody above him is in the process of making money. Heaven forbid you don't have to listen to and do everything that a fanboy says, but you should take it into consideration and be smart enough to make a decision beyond that. And that hasn't been happening. That did not happen under T. Shower. That did not happen under Hamada. That they did not have their ear to the ground. They had their ear to their office door, and that was it. We were never part of that equation for them.
Stella just gave us props down at the bottom at the last two comments.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, and let's just say, and we're all fanboys, but I am a fanboy that understands where my place in the process is, and that is as a consumer. All right, I don't run the studios. I don't have that kind of skin in the game. My little $10 to $12, there is so much money that is in so many careers that are risked before my little 20 or whatever dollars I pay for a movie comes out of my pocket. By the time that I get to my fanboy launching pad, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars have been put on the line, much of it borrowed, and all of it has to be paid back with interest. So when we start applying fanboy logic to business, you got to be careful, because a YouTuber can turn off his camera, can turn off his StreamYard or OBS or whatever the hell he's using. He can fold up his laptop and turn off his computer and go to bed. The guy who's running the show is the one that's up at night worrying about if any of it's going to work out for me. So, and he's in conversations. All we're doing is speculating. Zaslav knows we're guessing. Zack Snyder knows we're guessing. We as fanboys need to we're part of the equation, but we need to understand where we are as part of that equation. And I think when we let the heavy lifting, we can demand better management, but that's our job as a consumer, as a fan, and we can do that in several different ways. But once we've gotten that change, once we've gotten the guy in there, we've gotten the change that we've been begging for almost a decade, it's time to let that guy do his thing. It's time for us to not be guessing and bitching, oh, he cut this, he cut that. What's Warner Brothers doing? You know what they're doing? Something that you're not fucking capable of, because you and me are sitting in front of a camera behind a computer making several zeros less than he is, and several more zeros less on the line as far as risk, and none of the legacy and none of the reputation. So fanboys are great. I run a business based on fans. I'm a fan. I'm the biggest fan I know. But we got to know where our place is in the game.
Hey, William, I'll be right back. I'm going to change devices. Exactly. Be right back.
All right. So let's see. Let's go back up to where I was at here. I'm not letting them back in, by the way. Fuck they. No, I'm just kidding. I'll let them back in. All right, where are we at? She's born in Galway. Wow, dude, there's a lot of comments. I didn't realize how many comments you guys are putting in. I want to make sure that I get to as many as I can, so that yeah, you know what, and that's a problem. Yes, The Rock has a huge following, but it's at the end of the game. At the end of the day, it's Warner Brothers' movie. It's their movie. Before that big WB logo is on there, they got to be pushing it at least as much as he is, and I just don't think they have been. And like I said, I think a lot of that is because of transition and everything else. Um, um, James Cameron is a great director. I have no idea whether he could run a studio. Remember, we're a lot of times we bring up great filmmakers, and some of the great filmmakers that are out there are not necessarily great studio heads. Remember, a studio head is more than just the filmmaking aspect of it. It is the getting together the investors and pitching your game to the investors and signing deals, signing people, going out and getting people, going out and hired agencies that get the people to get the people, budgets, taking risk on something that may lose you money because somebody pitched a plan to you that you think is epic and you got to go for it. You got to go as a studio head to your boss and say, hey, this is what I'm fighting for. You have to be able to tell a storyline that may include 14, 15 different parts spread over 3 years. A filmmaker may only want to focus on his little pocket and dedicate all of his time. So there are some filmmakers that might be up to it. I just don't know who they are necessarily, and I don't know how what kind of commitment does that filmmaker want to put into a single movie or a group of movies. This is what you would have to do as a studio head. So James Cameron's one of the better ones out there, but does he want to or have a desire to run an entire studio? So Deborah Snyder would be good. Even if she says no to Zach, you know what? Maybe she's got her own production company. I've seen a lot of guys who, and Dennis Lin was another one of these guys that they had up there. A lot of these guys, when they get their own production company and that's their bread and butter, they seem to not want to relinquish that. And when you go work for Warner Brothers as a studio head of DC, you're theirs. You're theirs, and you do the projects that they hand you down or you come up with, but you're doing it for them. They might be able to get Stone Quarry in on it, but anything else. But once again, that would I don't know if they want to take their production. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Deborah Snyder. She's very capable, but maybe that's as good as name as any. Probably going to be somebody we've never heard of. That's the funny thing. It's probably going to be someone we have never heard of. Ziggy Bowman or something like that. Some dude, but he has a great history in Hollywood, and he's been behind the scenes, and all he does is his job, and that's who you get. All right. So The Rock versus Justice League Dark against Constantine, Zatanna, Shazam, something. Down the line. That first part that you got there, The Rock versus Justice League, that's your don't even add Dark into it. Don't even add. Make your money first. Make your big money first, because Justice League Dark is on down the lower on the scale. And Constantine, so many people that didn't even know what the hell that character was, even though we were watching Sandman, and I had to explain it's a woman here, but it's a guy. It's okay. But that first part, you're good on that first part. The Rock versus Justice League. Just cut it off right there. We could do this other stuff that you got down there after we make that big money, and we got people doing backflips over The Rock, over Justice League, because you're talking about this guy behind me, MILF Magnet. Yeah, a movie full of MILF Magnets making boatloads of money. Get another movie like that under your wing, and then we start bringing in some of the lesser known characters, because they're going to, like I said, a rising tide raises all ships. We can get to that, but that first one, you're right on. Rock versus Justice League, or Black Adam versus Justice League, obviously. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Hi, Aaron. Do you think Black Adam will be shown in China market? Yeah. I think so. But some weird stuff is going on in China. A lot of stuff is going on in China is not necessarily. Some of it is that they don't. We're having an issue with them on a cultural and political basis. But some of it is the fact that they don't want things competing. China is producing more and more movies in country that they don't want to have to compete with our American movies. Because remember, they get more of the money, they get more of the cut, and it's a China. There's been some movies where the Chinese movie beat out American movie, but The Rock, he's a global icon. I would have to say yes, and like I said, and if they show it in China, who knows how much money it can make? Who knows? We're like I said, we're in unknown territory. I'm just guessing. So don't take me as gospel. All right, Black Star Afro. What is the likelihood of us getting Jim Lee's Wildcats live action or the Max done on Netflix or Amazon?
Can you hear me, William?
Yeah, I can hear you. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Just kidding. The likelihood of you getting any of those is higher on Netflix or Amazon. Amazon has a crap ton of money. They can take risk. I dropped my phone. They can take risk that Warner Brothers Discovery may not want to take. They don't have. Remember, Amazon does not have to get financiers to do their movies. They got the cash. Netflix is different. Netflix would have to license it, but it all depends on what kind of budget we're talking about, where Netflix is at financially by then. I mean, they've proven even in the hard times that they're willing to spend the money on things. They're about to make a crap ton of money on Knives Out, too. Likelihood, I would say 50%, if I had to give percentages, especially the Max. After seeing the Sandman done, I would love the same people who did the Sandman to do the Max. I think that would be a beautiful production.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, Baxter Alpha. In Australia, you have to worry about everything, even if they have a version of the Komodo dragon that just discovered it recently. Yeah, and I don't feel like getting dragged into the bush by those things. They bite you and let you die. They bite you and then they just wait for you to collapse because all the bacteria and it gets into your bloodstream and just kills you. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. All right, now that the old WB regime is gone, it's a very telling how incompetent they were and how they ran their own studio into the ground with the pettiness so unprofessional. Well, here's another thing that if you ever needed an example of what the last 5 to 7 years of WB has been, AT&T purchased them not too long ago for $70-some-odd billion and sold them for far less with $40-some-odd billion of debt attached to it. Math is undefeated. If you fuck things up enough, the math will find you. All right? The bad math will find you. If you're not running things the way they're supposed to be running or the way they need to be running, the math will find you. You cannot hide from math. Math has been undefeated since long before we knew what math was. All right?
And the math will kill you. The math will kill you.
The math found the old regime. All right? And now here we are. All right, let's see. James Cameron as director, his temper would. Yeah, he does have an ego. So, all right, guys, you know what? I think we've hit everything. I think I've talked a lot, and my air conditioner's not coming on. I don't know why. Oh, the music has stopped. That's great. All right, we are just at roughly 3 hours. I have done it. I am successful in my mission.
Yes.
I have shepherded you from October 8th into October 9th. And if you're on the East Coast, we went deeper into the fields, and you fed very well. I had through another 3 hours of content, another 3 hours of hopefully answering as many questions as possible, and in a relatable way that I try to treat the chat. That's why I'm trying to get better at it, as if they were on the panel with me as much as possible. But I know there are certain streams that are so much larger than us and have so much more people watching that will eventually not be the case. And then I'll have to get somebody in on the chat because I really value your guys' presence in there. So I'm glad we had fun, and I think we accomplished our mission. We touched on all the topics, expanded on the ones we had been talking about yesterday. And we will let me get this up here. Tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Is that going to be a stream or is that going to be a recorded thing that we do?
I'm gonna do it as a stream.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna keep it tight.
So that's 2 p.m. your time. So that's 2 p.m. your time, right?
Yeah. So it's like 5 your time or what? No, 4 your time.
4. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see here. So we got this coming up, guys. And let me make sure that I'm sharing the screen because stupid thing doesn't want to do it. So this is going to be fun. Sci-Fi Center presents. We haven't done one of those in a while. We're going to start doing a lot more of those. Cold War sci-fi cinema. By the definition, it is basically like it says in the description. The Cold War gave us decades of anxiety and on the brinksmanship of being blown up to smithereens, but it also gave us some of the greatest science fiction achievements of all time. It literally was a factory for science fiction and horror based on xenophobia and the unknown and radiation. And I'm going to have a list of movies. I'm going to have my top movies. Dave will have some of his, and anybody else who wants to join us, we'll bring those in there, and we will go into depth. We'll give you a little bit of a primer of what the Cold War was because it is complicated, and I will give you a primer and a definition of what it means towards movies, and then we'll start. So yeah, I want to do more like this. I mean, there's a lot of content stuff that we put out there where we're talking about people and talking about whether who's going to do this, who's going to do that, and there's a place for that. There's even a place for that on our streams, but there's also a place for outright movie talk. All right, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow, and we're going to get away from everything else. We're going to get away from the speculation of Warner Brothers, DC, Marvel. We're going to get away from, I'm going to give you an hour where you don't have to worry about anything else but a subject and an era. So join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Sci-Fi Center Presents Cold War Sci-Fi Cinema. And that's it. And then just 5 hours later, you can join us again for Fire and Blood because I'm pretty sure we'll have plenty of Game of Thrones action to talk about.
Dude, we got another 10-year time jump.
Yeah, now we're talking about at least, I don't know if it's that long. Oh, Jesus. But we're going to have some action. We're in episode 8. And when we start getting towards these last 3 episodes of any Game of Thrones series, what's up. Somebody's dying. Somebody's losing something, and something's getting. Remember, we all know what this is being set in motion for: the Dance of the Dragon, which is a vicious civil war between the Hightower branch of the Targaryen family and the Blacks, which is the Rhaenyra Targaryen, the Daemon Targaryens, the smart side. So we'll have plenty to talk about tomorrow. So we'll spend some more time with you then. Thank you, everybody that joined in, asked questions, gave super chats, and added to the conversation. And thank you, Stage, for coming in. And we will see you not same time, but relatively same bat channel.
All right.
And everybody be safe. Yeah, don't do anything stupid.